Well, so anyway, I got done setting up the pinball thing, and
Greg, are we going to do the show? Are we going to do this?
Yeah.
It's probably about time.
It's time. Okay. Well, here.
Yeah,
okay.
We should probably start this.
Okay.
Yammering, yapping, changing his depends.
It's time for the show.
Episode 61.
Who pushed the live button before I was ready?
Mike.
My.
It's my cat.
Yeah. Welcome to the show, everybody. It's episode number 62. 62. That's 62.
Nice.
I didn't get any games yet for Steam. I set up an account. I didn't get any games yet.
I think for me, Hollywood Photo, we got Poop Simulator 2. So that's what I got.
There's Mike's Gaming Galaga.
Mike's Gaming Galaga here.
Hey, Mike.
Mike's Gaming Galaxian.
Gaming
Galaxy.
Look at Polo. Welcome back, Greg, Mike, Kelly, Mike. Both Mikes get it. I guess.
Bart, is that Bart? Is that off-grid arcade guy? Shorty's Adventure.
Hey, Shorty.
You know, if Retro Bliss shows up, I got to apologize to him for not getting in my contact. I had to take a test this week. I had to study for it.
It's hard to hit that bottle.
Yes, it is. No, it kept me pretty busy this week. I had doctor's appointments out the kazoo, and I took my nuclear cardiac stress test, and I passed. He said I got a great day.
Nice.
Excellent.
And I'm not glowing in the dark anymore.
I had a QSART test, and I didn't know what a QSART test. I thought they said SHART, so I just took a bunch of my underwear, and I thought they wanted a sample. But that wasn't what they were looking for.
What do you call it? A Q what?
QSART to check small nerve damage.
Oh.
So,
like brain? Is it in your brain?
They said small nerve, so you dropped your pants?
yeah, they lay you down. And then after that's the end of the fun part of it. Then they put a little thing, sensor on your foot, one on your leg, and one on your arm. And then he hits a button, and something in there feels like it's scratching. And it makes you sweat just underneath those little sensors, and it collects that. And it senses whether the small nerves are doing what they're supposed to whenever they hit the button. So I didn't get the official call back from them, but through my MyChart app, I saw results that there's definitely some small nerve damage in my feet from what they said. So.
Wow. Interesting.
What was that term? I forget that term they used on one of my tests one time, and it made me really freak out until I visited the doctor. They said it was non something. Test results came out And I said, God, that sounds bad. He says, no, that means it's good. It's one of those reverse like yes means no and no means yes.
Yeah, I've done that. Yeah, with the lab tests, I can get those back ahead of time. Like, I'm not seeing the doctor for another 2 weeks, but here's your blood work, and I'm reading through it, and there's stuff in red. I'm like, this sounds terrible. You know, you're Googling and WebMD. I'm dead. And then you get to see the doctor 2 weeks later. You're fine. It's what it's supposed to be. So,
Yeah. Lovely medical field. The doctors are practicing medicine, and I can prove that they're just practicing.
I thought you were going to go with the old when they're looking at your X-rays or a CAT scan. There you go. The fuck is that? That's never a good sign.
No, that actually happened to me when I went to the hospital a long time ago, and I wish I saved that thing, and I lost it, but they gave it back to me as a little thing they implanted in my chest, just about the size of a piece of dentine gum, you know, just the one little piece they put in my chest to check your cardiac rhythm. And instead of wearing that thing, it just little tiny thing connected to your phone and sent them stuff every night, letting you know how it was. And I went in to have my shoulder x-rayed by my orthopedic because I was having trouble with my shoulder. And he brought that x-ray and he put it up there and he says, what the hell is that? He's looking, and because it looked like just that little square thing with little feet, looked like a centipede. And he said, what the hell is that? And I said, son of a bitch, that's where the remote went. And he just, at that point, he could tell he wasn't a guy with a good sense of humor. And he says, what? And I said, I'm just jacking with you, doc. You know, sense of humor here. Ha ha. And I told him what it was. He says, never seen such a thing. Because you're a bone doctor, you're not a heart doctor, you know, whatever.
Right?
It did freak him out, though. He said, what the hell is that? Anyway, okay, that's enough of the old people chat. Unless the other two guys got to talk about health. Hemorrhoids are acceptable. Nose hairs, excessive nose hair, ear hair. I mean, any of that old people stuff.
Yeah, we need to change the name to old farts who eventually talk about video games every once in a while.
But we don't care. We don't care, do we, old Poe? What do you think?
Where am I at? Oh, the neighbor's mowing their grass right next to my house now, so they waited for the show to start.
That's the best time. Yeah, that's the best time. All right, so Mike, what have you been up to this week?
I went to the Next Level Pinball and Museum. When was that? Thursday with my son and niece. I actually got photos if you want me to share them with you guys.
Sure.
Yeah, you can. I got to say this. I did notice when you were private messaging that you rather enjoyed the Stranger Things pinball, and you made mention of the fact you know now why I got one. You sound like
have you played the new one, Greg?
Yeah.
It's the new one. It's got like the movie screen in the front of it, and you got to shoot your ball to the Demogorgon in the mouth.
Yeah, the only thing that's the premium. What are the two different ones? There's the standard edition, the premium
and limited. So I got to play on the premium.
No, you're on the better one, and it had the screen.
Yeah.
And the only reason I didn't pick that one is it wasn't that much more. But they told me that movie projector that projects that on the screen, mine still has, it comes down, the screen comes down, but it's painted instead of being full of the screen. The Demogorgon's still there. It's still the ramp for that. But the problem is, the guy told me that I was buying it from him, he says, the projector that projects that, he says, as best I can tell, I asked about getting some more of those just as replacement parts, and they said they didn't have them. So he says, if your projector goes out, you might not be able to get one for it. So I said, well, screw that. I'm not getting the projector one. So I and then everything else I ordered was the same as the deluxe one or whatever, but it's because I had the black light set put in it. So that brought it up to I think premium's what I got, and I think limited's am I right on that? I'd have to look that up. I can't
There's
remember.
Was it the Pro, the Premium, and the Limited? That's what the pinball guy was explaining to me when I went over there.
You're right.
Like, what's the
You're right.
Between all of them.
Mine's
he said the Limited is like the top one.
Mine's the Pro. Yeah. And then the premium is the one that has all that. And the limited, I think the only difference is I think that's comes within a certain amount of numbers. You know,
Yes. Yep.
It's if it's
I got-
500.
Yep. Yeah, sir. I saw some of them there for sale that were limited, which I'll show in one of the pictures. They're pretty nice. Want me to show
Go
them
ahead.
now?
Yeah, go
Okay.
ahead. Take over. You're good.
Reset. Share screen. Let's see. All right, I got it.
Okay.
I guess you guys have to bring it up,
You got
Oh.
it, Greg?
I got it. Yeah.
Yep. and I can switch out the pictures. So
There you go.
yeah, we're here out at the next level. So I have my son Jaden on the right, and then my niece Kalea. So I
And
took her out.
And
and
that's
she
you
was-
standing in between them?
I took the picture. No,
I
I'm not
thought
Hello
that
Kitty. She wanted to be next to Hello Kitty. My son's like, I'm not into Hello Kitty.
Oh, I thought that was you with the bow in your
no,
hand.
nope. And my son likes Totoro, so he got a picture with her there. So, and I got a picture with Mega Man. So, yeah, the first machine I got to play was the Star Wars one. I missed playing this. So I got to play that machine. There's the Elvira, and that was the Party Monsters. So I've never played this before. Fun game. Really fun table. And there's kind of the back glass, or I mean the play field.
Very cool.
And here's some of the other machines. I got to play the Guns N' Roses. Unfortunately, I didn't have time to play all these. I stayed there. We got there like around 12 noon, and I stayed there till 11 p.m. That's when they closed. So
Wow.
I got to try as much stuff as possible. I decided I was going to beat some games, like some of the more newer, expensive ones, like The Walking Dead. So those games are usually like typically $3.25. When I saw like the credit, like wow, but it's free, so you got to keep playing until you beat it.
Nice.
Yeah, I got to try out the gun. The Guns N' Roses was pretty cool. Instead of the like what we call it, you pull for the shoot the ball. It's a gun, a revolver. So that was
Nice.
their little.
Where do we go now? Where do we
Yeah.
go? Where do we go? Sorry.
That's okay. This was my favorite. I got to play the Elvira House of Horrors.
House of Horrors?
So yeah.
Horrors. Oh,
Horrors.
not horse. Relax. House of Horrors.
Give me some tokens. I'm ready to go.
And so as you can see here, we got the two machines. So on the right, I think that's the premium. And then on the left is the limited. As you can see, it says in stock. That they had one available there. So when I played both, I really like I like the right one better because I like more color, but I can understand why a lot of people would like the one on the left. This one has Elvira's signature on the pinball, and of course, what Greg said, it's a limited quantity on this. So I don't know how many they produced out of the Elvira machines, but it's actually really neat. And I was actually thinking when I played these machines, I'm actually considering selling some of my arcade machines to purchase an Elvira pinball cap. So I'll talk about that more later. And then next to that, the Batman was played a lot. That I got to try that out. That was really fun. The Black Knight, tried that machine as well, and the Munsters, all fun.
Let me
And
just
I
jump in.
tried-
Let me say something here real
Yeah,
quick,
go
Mike. Go back to that Batman table, if you can back up one.
Sure. Yeah.
The pin. I'll more on this story later in the show, but that Batman one they had at this shop here that Bart came up when he came up. We went to, and he told me what he had to pay for that. That machine's been out for a long time. That Batman 66. If you ever wanted that machine, that's going to cost you an arm, a leg, and a foot. I mean,
Oh. They actually had one, Greg. They wanted $10,000 for it.
Yeah.
And they had one left in stock. I think that's probably because pretty sure maybe it's a limited edition they have in the back. But yeah, I saw the prices. Like the pros were like 7,000, and then I saw some of the limited, like Elvira's thing. I didn't know how much that is. I went and looked it up. They should cost around $12,000. You know, I'd rather get the pro or the premium to save some money. But yeah, the limited was really expensive. And then here, Data East, the Star Trek, actually really fun. I've never played this before. I've always played the Stern one. That one's actually my favorite Star Trek one, but this one was pretty fun. And I like that it had in the middle there. I don't know if you can see it, where if the ball is about to drain, it can actually save it. That middle part will bounce the ball back up sometimes.
Oh,
so that was actually pretty neat. Yeah. And yep, Playboy. Had to try that out.
Woo!
And then, yes, I got to find a Rolling Thunder. I don't see too many of these, but I was like pleasantly surprised he had a Rolling Thunder arcade cabinet. So that was pretty awesome seeing that.
Very
And then
cool.
I got to play some Asteroids. I entered my initials there.
Nice.
And then I found an Eyes. I know Poe did a video on Eyes before, and I found the actual cabinet. They had it here.
That's really cool.
Cool. Yeah.
Wow.
And of course, I had to play Twilight Zone. That's one of my favorite pinball machines right there. Yeah, very
There you go.
fun. And then I should Poe this Popeye. This one's a
Yeah,
good
that's
one, too, where it hit the ball in Brutus's mouth, or is it Pluto? But yeah, you gotta hit him in the mouth with your ball and stuff. So it doesn't sound good when I say it that way, but that's what's going on in there.
Give him some chin apples.
Yeah. And that's kind of where I looked at Popeye's arms, like, what the heck? He's got like flippers for arms. So yeah.
Anything's possible when you eat that funky spinach.
Oh yeah. And there was a was that Jeep? Sir.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jeep.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then there's is this what you have, Greg? This version? They said it was pretty new. I think it was like 2 years ago this came out.
Yeah, that's the same one that I've got. The only difference is that, like you said, mine did not come with the black lights for the playfield. The playfield that's what people complained about. The playfield was painted with both paints, the regular paint, and then it had a coat of that black light paint on it that really shows up. But they didn't give you the black. They didn't give it to you with the Pro. You had to, but I bought it as an option, which that in and of itself was hard to get a hold of. I had to wait like 9 months to get it and paid a premium for it. And I had to have the local repair put it in. That, and then the only other difference is that and the projector. And if people can see in the very center of that table, that's a projection on a stainless steel plate that comes down as a ramp. Whereas mine does not have the projector, it just has the paint. But that's the exact same machine, yeah, with those exceptions.
So the guy was talking to me about this because I was interested in like looking at some pinball machines, and he said this one is available, the Pro. And one of the things he said, if you do buy this, he said he would recommend I change the back glass, the glass, because it's not anti-glare. He's like, this kind of sucks. Like if you have overhead lights and stuff, you can't see the playfield. But he recommended there's like a place online you can buy the glass for it, and it's like an anti-glare glass, which the limited edition has on their pinball machine. So it makes a difference.
The glass over the playfield.
Yes. So
Yeah,
I got
that's
to see it online, and someone replaced it, made a load of difference on there. Like, wow, you can actually see the playfield. Because I was kind of like, I can't really hardly see this. So I had to really kind of hunker down and look at it closely just to see the playfield. But it was definitely fun. I did love playing this one.
See, my room down there doesn't have a lot of overhead lights, so I never have concerned myself about it. But I have seen.
Oh, nice.
The only difference on mine is there's an adjustment you can make where the back glass light
Yeah.
is right when you're not playing it. But then you can adjust it so that when you start playing, you can adjust it to 10, 20, 30, 40, all the way up to 100%. You can make it dim the back glass down so it doesn't reflect off the main glass. And that's what I've got.
Cool.
So,
Kelly
Yeah,
has a
definitely
lot of problem with that at arcades with the glare because she's not as tall, and sometimes she can't see half the table because the glare coming off the back glasses, and then if they got lights on the walls and all that to make the place look fancy. Yeah,
I get
Nice.
mirrored tint on there so that you can't see anything but my own wonderful face.
there you go. That's a fact, Jack.
there you
Weird.
go, right there.
That
Oh.
Oscar Mayer hot dog. Got to play this. That's Blitz. Fun game.
Nice.
I was playing the Steelers, of course. And then
Nice.
I don't know if you can see the back. So this is the Terminator 2 cab, and then I did play the off-road behind it. So that was
Nice.
fun.
Nice.
Yeah, I got to beat this. I don't know if you remember when I did that video about playing Terminator 2. So I couldn't beat it because on that level where the helicopter's crashing into the SWAT van, I always lost to that. So you got to have someone else shoot from the top part. Well, you have to kind of guard the back of the truck. So it took me about 75 tries. That's how hard it was, because if you mess up, you have to start over and do that again. It's not like you can insert a quarter and I'm going to pass it. So you had to play that and do that. And fighting the T-1000 at the end, that was kind of tricky too. And then I figured out, okay, you got to shoot them with the shotgun and then shoot the M203 at them. So yeah, finally beat that. I was really happy. Yep, there's my score.
Nice.
Cool.
You beat Tim, so that's good.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never seen this before. I know Retro Man Randy Savage would like this. He's a big Freddy Krueger fan. But yeah, I got to play this. This was pretty neat. And
Yeah,
what's
I've
kind of
never seen
neat about it, yeah, if you shoot it, there's not the ramp, but there's this corridor on the right. He spits the ball, I think, out of his mouth onto the playfield. So that was actually pretty interesting. I like this one. This one was pretty fun.
Yeah.
And there it is, kind of a good overview of the playfield. Very cool. And I've never seen someone built this. So it's the Nintendo cab, right? And then someone put a Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
it was really cool. Yeah, I love that one. And then there's a bump and jump.
Yes.
Nice. That was fun. I got to play it again. It's like, oh, okay. And then of
I
course,
want to recognize the comment that somebody's made just because I want to.
what's that?
Mike's Gaming Gala made a comment about the cost of a few pinball tables, and he's right. That's definitely and size for room. But one thing I'll say about a pinball machine, I know what I gave for my Stranger Things, and I've kept it pristine. I keep taking the glass off. Bart will tell you when he was here, I'd take it apart. I change the balls out regularly. I wipe the playfield down. I keep it nice. Women that come over with big rings, I don't let them play. They got to take the rings off. I don't want them scratching up the table. You may pay a premium for some of these, but I guess there could be some that won't do this, but it's not 100% for sure. But I've already been offered a lot more for that table than I paid for. They seem to be one of the few things. It's not like buying a car. They can, if you take care of them, go, well, look at that Batman 66. What did you say you saw it going for, Mike? Did you say it was for sale up there?
10,000 that they
See,
wanted.
that thing's been out for years. And I bet it sold originally for less than around $4,000 or $5,000.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it definitely went up in price. Yeah, I've never seen a
Like-
Bubble Bobble arcade. So it was actually pretty funny. There was these teenagers playing it. They were really good. So I actually asked them some questions like, so how do you win at this game? And they said, don't get hit. So that was their tip. Like, oh, cool. All right. Don't get hit. Gotcha. But yeah, that was my score this was my first time playing it on the arcade. So Not
So
too shabby.
did those guys play for you in the challenge this week?
No. But they were playing together and stuff, and they're I was just really surprised. Typically they play some of the newer stuff, but no, that's like their favorite.
That is a good score, though.
Yeah. And then of course the blood red edition of Elvira. Had to take a picture of that again, but that's the one that's for sale. And when I looked up the price on it, it's like, but the guy said when I talked to him, it's like, I don't know about paying that much. He's like, I'd rather pay for the Pro because that's more along the lines of my, if I sold some of my machines, my arcade machines, I'd want to get the Pro edition. And he said, yeah, we could work on something with you on there. I'm like, oh, cool. So yeah, I'm thinking because I gotta think about which machines I want to get rid of out of my arcade. So, but I'm really considering getting a pinball because I stuck playing with this. The two ones I kept playing was Elvira, and then I went back to Stranger Things. So, okay, that's it. That's all the photos I got.
Okay, well that is extremely cool. Let me. You got it, Mark. Good job.
A really fun day there.
Yeah.
I've never played that House of Horrors, Elvira. I not even digitally. I've never played it.
Oh, it was fun.
Is it a fun table?
Yeah. Well, someone was telling me about it there because there's this guy that was kind of giving me like history on the pinball machines, and he told me that you can get. I think for that one, it was set up to be a family-friendly pinball table, but you can go into the settings and change it where Elvira will say some pretty lewd, and of course for you will talk, right? And she'll go to her normal mode of talking and stuff. So you can change that. So
yeah, you can do that on. You can do that on the Stranger Things too. Right now, I've got it set
for family friendly.
Yeah, it doesn't hold back, and it's nothing major. It's just I think the only word that's said in it is shit. I think at some point the sheriff's voice that they use in it from Stranger Things, he says that word a few times, and you can turn that so it won't happen.
Well, I think what cracked me up was with the original with Elvira Scared Stiff. They did the same thing. They have the adult version and the family-friendly version, but even the adult version, it was just innuendo stuff. It wasn't like she was cussing and stuff. So the average kid might not even get most of the things she was saying. It was very tame. The worst thing, I don't know. So I always thought it was silly, but
one I always thought was funny is she always says, somebody says, she hits her head and she goes, somebody asks her, how's your head? And she goes, oh, I'm good at head. I'm good at
yeah. But
yeah, she said something while I was playing that. She's like, are you done yet? Because I'm about to fall asleep. So that was her little comment.
I hear that all the time. Okay, once a month.
So when I was jealous. No, go ahead.
I'm glad you got to do that because I was going to tell this, especially Bart, because he was up here. A friend of mine here in the neighborhood, he is one got the kid that comes down here and plays pinball here sometimes, and he comes down with his boy and plays. And I got them turned on to that pinball place that I took you to in town. Well, he came by my house the other day. And he says, "Man," he says, "I went down there, took the boy down there to play," and he says, "Did you hear anything about them closing?" He says, "Closed up, it's gone." And I haven't seen any. I used to follow him on Facebook. I don't know what the hell happened. He's gone. I mean, if you remember, he had 40, 50 tables. I mean, 2 floors full of pinball machines.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Huh.
That's gone. So I don't know. I got a guy that kind of knows him. That I know a guy that knows a guy that knows a guy that knows him. So I might see if I can investigate that a little bit, find out if they moved, or you'd think he would have told everybody that he moved or something.
Cannabis, love to restore my uncle's 76 Elton John Captain Fantastic Round Dirt Cowboy pinball machine. Yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah. Well, I know we're going to have some limited time tonight because Mike's got somewhere he needs to be here shortly. So we might want to move on to Mike's gaming gala kind of segued here with the speaking of good scores. He's butthurt that he wasn't able to play again on the bubble, and his 10 billion score didn't count. It was close. We almost put it on the spreadsheet, but the Photoshop skills weren't quite perfect. Let me pull up this thing since he brought it up, and I'll share that spreadsheet for the big bubble.
How many of you guys enjoyed that? I actually enjoyed playing that game.
That was a fun game.
Yeah, I liked it, Greg. I'm actually next payday I'm probably going to pick up a copy.
What the hell happened to the spreadsheet? I didn't see that.
Yeah, some people put their scores
I try to watch what I say here, but that's bullshit.
Well, Mike's Gaming Gala's daughter beat your ass, Gregory.
Yeah.
She did.
Mike snuck in a game at the end here. I saw it this morning when I got up, and just snaked T-Dog. We thought, man, he had a great score going, and then he saw Mike's score. He's like, oh.
Well, like the amazing thing there is Gaming Road Warrior is new to this game, so.
Yeah, this was not my game I played back when I was younger. I was like, this is for the lower elementary kids that play this. Since I was a middle schooler back then, I played like Rambo or any action. Like with you, Poe, I picked some bad action games too. So,
yeah, and I noticed a big difference. Like when I played it for my video, I did it on the iArcade just because it's so simple and I have all those NES games on there. But when I finally sat down and played my one game on the Mini with an NES gamepad, it seemed a lot easier than using that freaking joystick and buttons from the arcade.
Oh, yeah, I agree with you. When I first played the Bubble Bobble was at arcade, and then I was like thinking like, oh, I got to try it out. I had my Mini NES with all the NES games, so when I got to try it out on a controller, I did very, very well at that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely agree. The controller, I like playing with Bubble Bobble better.
Yeah, and Mike's pointing out here, Greg, that Atrin, who beat you, she's 8.
I mean, hey, she did a great score because I'll tell you what, I don't know, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed playing the game. I wasn't that good at it, but that doesn't mean that I don't enjoy it. I play these games, I think, like a lot of people do, to have fun. So, and it was fun.
Yeah, it's a good pick. I was really surprised when I got to play it. It's like, dude, this is a really good game. I never gave it much of a chance, but I think older me appreciates it more compared to younger.
Definitely. That was always one of those ones that I looked at the rental store or whatever. I'm like, I'm not getting this, I'm going to get some action,
Yeah, it was pretty. I only had. I lost my mouse. I'm trying to change stuff around. I can't find my mouse. I only got time to play it once. I got up one morning and I had a bunch of stuff to do, and I was like, shoot, I don't know if I'm going to be able to play this. So I quick threw it on, played a game, uploaded my score, and then the rest of my week was just toast. So I didn't have time to.
Yeah, that video I made was the first 3 times I played that thing, and I really sucked. Didn't know what I was doing. So I actually watched the arcade version, the demo on the arcade version of it, and it showed you what to do. And I'm like, well, there you go.
Yep.
I was just saying it. Yeah, I just love it when somebody says how bad they. Oh, I'm sorry, I brought up the wrong thing. I showed you the wrong thing. My bad. I shouldn't be touching stuff. I was getting ready to say. When
I can
when
pull
you
that
say,
other one back up if you wanted to go. Did you want to see that other one again?
No, all I was going to do is say it really makes you feel good when a guy beats you badly and then he says, "But I sucked."
Right.
If you sucked, what's that mean? That means I really suck.
Yeah.
Well, all of these lately, these challenges have been a lot of fun where you get better. It seems like each time you play it.
True. I'm just pointing out that I'm a little sensitive about that kind of stuff, Poe.
Well, we weren't going to point out that you were the suckiest and you're the one who picked the game. Nobody here's going to do that to you.
Well, that makes me feel better. Well, you know,
No,
I can get
I'm actually really happy you picked that. It's a good pick. You picked it,
Yeah.
and look how many people played it. So you picked a fun game to
Casey.
play.
well, good. I feel better now.
Television gamer in the house, Casey.
Nice.
Hey, Casey.
So you
So,
got to check out his television collection. Amazing.
well, since we just discussed last week's challenge, Bart, should we move into this week's challenge? Because we have been blessed with a video to announce this week's.
We're
What is
blessed with the video. I thought we just had pose.
Yeah.
Yeah. What happened is I asked yesterday Bart was gonna. I knew he had a busy week and everything, and he said, "Yeah, go ahead and pick it. It's too hot out there for me to go messing around." And then I didn't even pick the thing until probably midnight or something like that. I was scrambling when I finally got the chance. So, what we did, I put together a little video here of me sucking at it. So, don't do what I did.
And I got to thank you, Greg, because Greg took care of that and sized it and got it uploaded. So that's one last time I had to watch Poe's video because I can barely stomach it when it's on here, but I have to edit it.
I can't even stand looking up at the laptop whenever my face is on there and I'm playing. So,
I don't want to take credit for something that was not true. Poe's video actually did not exceed 10 minutes. Hallelujah.
Right.
And it did not exceed 200 megabytes. So I didn't have to do anything but upload it. So I got to give a hip hip hooray to Poe
All right.
for getting it right the first time. So there you go. And I did take a look, make sure I did have this game, and I do have it. And I've never played it before, and I turned it on my little ROG Ally today and played it, and it's fun. So let's take a look at it.
All right. This week's challenge for the arcade for the show, I am picking Gyruss. Why Gyruss? I really don't know. I'm not that familiar with this game, but I know it is a very popular game, so why not pick a popular game? Let's put it in 4-way and let's give it a go. This, to me, looks like it should have been a spinner game, but it's not a spinner game, so... All right. And I'm dead already. 200 points. Can you top that? And I'm dead again. 750 points. As you can see, I've never really played this game. I put it on here and tried it out, and yeah, that's not good. Let's put another nickel in the Nickelodeon. Warps to Neptune. How about your mom's anus? I mean, Uranus. I'm really not. Never ever played this in the arcade. And I'm dead. At least that's way better than my entire last game. Oof, I think this would have felt pretty good with a spinner. Just saying. No, that's not what happened. That game over. 10,700. Well, I picked this challenge and I'm gonna lose at it, but that's okay. We're gonna do one more. top score before was 7,000 the first time I played this game, so there you go. Push start button, one player only. So yeah, I'm sure there's strategies to this game. I know none of them. So. Oh no! Game over, man. 21,400. Well, there you go. At least I over doubled my top score. Again, this is Gyruss, and I know a lot of people love this in the arcade. A lot of people love it on the NES. I don't even think I've ever played it on the NES before in my life. It's probably here in the collection somewhere. That happens a lot. And this was never one that I put a quarter into at the arcades because there were so many other big things. I didn't get to the arcades very often. So, Gyruss, give it a shot. This is the weekly challenge for the arcade. I know a lot of people love it, so this is my gift to you. Pooh! Poe! I didn't get the E in before it ended. No fair. Back to the show. Take it. Take it away now. Give it away. Give it away. Give it away now.
So I made as many excuses as I could in that small video why I suck.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, I went back to see. I could have swore I had that on my arcade already, and I thought it would be funny. I don't know if you saw in the green room. I got up and went back and looked for it because I figured it'd be funny when we came back from your video if I wasn't even watching. I was just playing my own game. And, but I don't have it on there apparently, so I'm going to have to download it. I played it somewhere fairly recently. I feel like I played that game in the calendar year of 2024, but not on the arcade. But I don't know where I played it. Maybe it was at an arcade one time. I was at an arcade. I'm not sure, but yeah.
I think I played it first on the NES. Never played the arcade game before, but I have it. So on my 1943 cab, it's a fun game. Yeah, I always thought the same thing, Poe. It seems like it should be a spinner game, but you're using the control shift.
It's like it's kind of like Galaga meets Tempest, right? You're going around.
Yep.
Around the horn. What's?
It won't focus on it. I thought I did really good just before the show. I played it, and I got 8,700. And I thought, man, I'm really good. And then I saw Post suck getting score 3 times that much. So I guess I'm not good at this one either. Good night, everybody. Thanks.
Okay, so Television Gamer's asking about the challenge. And Mike's Gaming Gala, he's an old pro. Anyone can play. just got to be on our Discord. Yeah, so if you join our Discord channel, which is listed under all of my channels, videos, all of Greg's channels, videos. Poe, do you guys put it on yours? Sometimes not.
No, we
Sometimes,
just
yes.
you guys.
Yeah, if you go to any of my videos or any of Greg's videos, there's a link to our Discord channel. You can go in there, join our Discord, and all of these challenges, other than the big pinball tournaments that only last 5 days, they all go from the show on Sunday till Saturday night, midnight Pacific time on Saturday night, and you just take a picture of your screen and post it in the console challenge or the arcade challenge, depending on which we're doing which week, and you can get in on it. It's a pretty fun deal. We get some pretty good turnouts from time to time. Some of these games.
That video there, what I've been doing lately, if I'm starting a challenge, I'll put that video out again on my channel with the link to the Discord. So probably tomorrow that video I'll have out.
Yeah.
It's on the. I started putting it in the description of the live show, but that I can only set up mine and Bart's. So if you're on mine or Bart's channel, it should be in the description of this video. And also, if you look right here, it is now scrolling across the bottom of your screen, and I'll also paste it into the comments. So there's no excuse not to have it now. The link.
Yeah, but now he won't go to our channels and subscribe, Greg. Way to go. Gosh. Don't you have to go somewhere? Didn't you say you had to leave? Yeah, no, there you go, right there. Check out the Discord and sign up there. A lot of talking, a lot of good times, joking around, having fun. All these tournaments are just for fun, just for bragging rights. You're not, it doesn't matter. So it's a good deal. It's a lot of fun. We kind of started these as a goof, and now it's pretty much every week we do either an arcade or a console challenge, and we just pick random games, whatever we feel like picking. And Poe was not making up that story. He texted on, was it last night? Late afternoon.
Yep.
And that, like right now, it's beautiful out here. But yesterday when Poe asked me if I was going to pick one, I was tired. And it was probably 110 degrees out here in the trailer. And I'm like, I'm not going to go fire up the arcade and play a game and make a video because I had to get up at 4 a.m. for work today. So, but yeah, so that was a true story. So Poe picked this one last minute. He was just like, yeah, this sounds like a good game. So
Poe will pick a game. He'll pick his nose. He'll pick about anything.
Yeah.
My artist.
Yeah.
But with that being said, since you said that's right, Mike's going to have to get, and I may do it eventually too. I tell you, I got two issues going on here. One is it's beautiful out, but number two is little Betty. These people down here, Cheryl's cussed them like crazy for lighting their fireworks. I said we used to do it too, but Betty's about to have nervous breakdowns. It seems like the only thing that can calm her down is Daddy holding her. So they haven't started yet, but when they start, especially
are we still talking about the dog, or did you switch to talking about Cheryl? I'm not sure.
Well, a little both, maybe.
Mike, did you have anything you needed to talk about before you left? Because I know it's about that time.
Can I ask what's the next game for the pinball challenge before I go?
Well, that's where I was going to go. That's where I was going to segue into. As a matter of fact, let me bring it up, and I will display that banner.
My Little Pony.
Tesla?
Nope, there it is scrolling across your screen.
Snoopy.
This week is Snoopy.
Oh, nice.
F38B. That's Frank. 38B is in boy.
Or Foxtrot 38 Bravo for all of you that.
There's your left.
B is in bastard, F is in mother fudger.
Bart, can you show them the spreadsheet from last week real quick so I can see that?
Well, Mike, you got to get going, or did you want to see this first?
Sure, I want to see it first before I go.
All right. There you go. Decon 52 GTH 2370. He had a phenomenal game. 109 million. I had a 76 million. Classic Rock King was 68. T-Dog with the big 49 million just snaked out Greg at 47, who just snaked out Poe at 46, and then Mike. And I should have put it on there, and then Derek with 0. Because I remember make a spreadsheet at 4:05 in the morning while you're getting dressed, ready to go to work. You're like, shit, I didn't put Derek on there.
Everybody remember too, the challenges are from Saturday night. They're from the time the show starts till Saturday night at midnight Pacific time. But if these pinball tournaments are 5 days from whenever Bart or I set them up. And I set this one up late today. It set it up just before the show started. But it's your responsibility to open up the tournament. Look, and it'll tell you how many days and hours are left. So it could easily end at noon on the 5th day if I set it up that early, because you got to pick hours, days, or weeks. And I picked 5 days.
Yeah. And if you look on this spreadsheet for the weekly scores that's going, you can see here Derek he missed it by like an hour. He posted in Discord that, man, I got to play that thing, and it had just ended within an hour when he said that. But, so that's where the points are standing for the overall, the week to week. Not much changed. DCOM and Classic Rock King ended up in first, second, third again this week, same as we did last week. So you can see the scoring right there. 4 for first, 3 for second, 2 for third, and everyone gets a point that plays, and you get 0 if you didn't play.
It's a gaming road warrior and myself. We're saving our fingers. We know we're only going to get 1 point each week, so why destroy our fingers?
Saving it for the end. But
that's my excuse. I'm sticking to it.
And if you've missed the first 2 weeks and you didn't get to play and you want to get into this tournament, all it takes, if you were to get second place in the week 3, you'll be tied with everyone that got 1 point each week. So you can catch right back up. So this thing's not over by a long shot. And after the 5th week, we'll have a little playoffs for the people everyone that's not named me or Greg. And
depending on how many people we got, I've seen it end up where everybody that played all season long got to be in the playoffs, and you could be the worst player there is, but we make it tough. I mean, it's like the finale might be 1 ball, 1 try.
Right.
And I don't care how good you are, the ball can drain right away.
All right.
2 girls, 1 cup.
All right. We're losing Mike. We'll see you, buddy.
Right. Have a good night.
Catch you guys later.
Okay, we'll see you. Jeez, he's finally gone. Okay.
He's going on his own podcast right now. He didn't want to tell us that.
Right? Yeah, he's going to join with Mike's Gaming Gal, and they're going to have the Mike and Mike show now.
Eminem.
Yeah.
Well, I got something I want to talk about real quick, just because you're here, Bart, and I'm not going to ask for your help today. I'm going to have to get together with you another time. But everybody knows I'm a grouchy old man, and I've been bitching about my cable company. I didn't realize until I started really getting into the Xbox and playing some of these bigger games that I had a limit on my internet because I never went over. So I've been tracking it, and I had tons left over. So I said, now's the time to jump on it. So I downloaded Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Oh,
it took a day and a half. No, I'm exaggerating. It took quite a few hours.
Right, yeah. It took me several hours on Starlink to get it.
But I'll tell you what, I did make a successful landing, and I did. But I that's after 2 flying into the sides of mountains, and I'm going to have to relearn. And I just haven't decided. But I will say one thing: there's plus and minus to that in X-Plane 11. But I got to admit, the graphics. I mean, I'm even running this on not as good a system as this one is, but it's still keeping up. It's running pretty good.
Nice.
And I am kind of digging it. There's a lot of different setups and things I got to figure out. And I think the only thing I want to ask you about is X-Plane 11. After you get done with the flight, you can go back and replay the whole dang flight. I haven't figured out if you can do that. And because I like it, because when I land, I can go replay it and change my position. I can be outside the plane watching it come in, and I can judge whether, like, what did I do wrong? Why did I bounce? Well, my main hit too hard, or my hit nose wheel first. And
if you go into the, I forget what they call it. It's basically like the developer mode kind of thing. If you go into the main menu, you'll see it. You can turn on the replay system, but you have to do that every time. You can't, it doesn't default like X-Plane does. And there's something else you have to do. Like you have to start the recording with it, and it works pretty good. But I use a third-party software. It's free. I got it from, I think, flightsim.to. It's called Sky Dolly. And I said Dolly, like hello Dolly. Matter of fact, the icon is a sheep. But
hello, Dolly. What's that from? What's that?
Yeah, that's there's some Chucky pinball there. But
hi, Dolly.
It's completely free. You just run that when you're getting ready to start your flight or whatever. Like for mine lately, I just do the replay of the landing. So as I'm coming into land and I'm 5 miles out, I'll just tell it to start recording. And then when you're done, you just tell it to play, and you can back it up wherever you want and change all your camera angles and do all that stuff. But it's a separate program, so I have it run on a different screen, and I can move this stuff around, you know. And so that's what I use. But they do have a way to do it inside the sim, but it seemed like to me it was easier to use the Sky Dolly.
Gotcha.
Nope.
Very cool.
Bliss made it.
Retro Bliss.
And I got to say something to Bliss real quick while he's here. I've had a real busy week. Yes, I am going to, tomorrow morning, first thing, I'm going to get up and I'm going to send you all my contact information. I know you'd asked for it. I'll send it to you in the Discord in a private message, and I apologize. I told you last week I'd do that, and I just got crazy busy. And tonight I said, oh, shit, there's something else I forgot to do. So I will get that done tomorrow, sir.
Yeah.
What's he saying in the comments there? Screw you, you waited too long.
No, he said, sorry he's late. He's been moving his mom this week and weekend. He's now in a body cast, but he can use his fingers. That's nice. Yeah. No, he said, all good. Okay. Yeah, I feel you there, though, Phil. I went this week. I drove over to Phoenix and picked up a shit ton of solar panels. And then I brought them back here, and I spent the rest of the week moving those solar panels and getting them hooked up and all that. My back is killing me. Yesterday at work, every time I told Kelly, I said, I'm not going to sit down. We have chairs behind the counter at the hotel. I said, I'm not going to sit down because every time I do, it hurts so bad to stand back up. My back is just jacked. But I doubled my solar. So
nice.
A deal too good to be true. $20 a panel for 250 watt panels.
Wow.
So it was worth driving to Phoenix.
Yeah, wouldn't you say the shipping? You contacted them about shipping to you, and it was going to be some enormous amount of money to ship them?
It was around $650 shipping.
Wow.
And the panels themselves, for the whole order, because my neighbor got some too, the whole order, it was like $750 for the panel and $650 shipping. It's like, well, screw that. And it cost me $185 in gas to go over and back. I stay at my mom's house, so it doesn't cost us a hotel room. And the neighbor guy split the gas money with me since he got some panels also. So it worked out. Yeah, there was a 25% off coupon that we were able to use. So it was $20 a panel, less 25%, but then you got to add in the gas money and tax and all that stuff. it ended up costing me right at $21 a panel, including the fuel to go over to pick them up. So anyone that's ever bought solar panels knows a 250 watt panel for $20 is ridiculous. My first 250 watt panel I bought, I paid $250 for, $1 a watt. So,
he just lost. Look, he just lost a solar panel.
yeah, he lost a panel. Oh man, yeah, those patches will come off. Yeah, he split the gas money sneakily. I told him I just gave him, because he paid for the order and then I had to pay him back for my panels, and he said, "We'll take some gas money out of it." And I took some out, and he was trying to get me to take too much. At first, he was going to pay the whole thing. I said, "You're not paying all the gas," because I went and picked up a bunch. So then this weekend, yesterday and today, he put a $20 bill in Kelly's tip jar. And then on his way out today, he says, "Okay, now we're even for the gas." So he gave me an extra $40 towards the gas. And, he had already paid 70, and now, so he paid 110 and I paid 70 towards my gas.
There's good people in the world, though, that have a little respect and are nice and would offer to do something like that. That was very nice of him to do that, because some people wouldn't do that.
Right. Yeah. And I told him, if he wouldn't have, originally we put our orders together thinking they were going to have a good deal on shipping and we'd split the shipping cost. Well, that went out the window. So I said, well, I'll just drive and pick them up. But if we hadn't have done that, I was still going to buy the panels I bought. So I was going to drive over there anyway. So it's like, it's because he's like, well, you spent all that time and all that. I'm like, I work 2 days a week. The 2 days driving, and I got to visit my mom. So it's not like it was wasted, So, but yeah, he gave me that extra money. So that's cool. But
now, I'm just curious. I mean, I know you live out in the desert, so it's not like you got to climb up on a roof and install them or anything like that. But I mean, you're talking about adding a considerable amount. Is that pretty work intensive, or is it just a matter of getting them set up and wiring them up? I mean, how intensive is something?
Well, if you do it right, there's a lot of work to be done. But the way I do it, it was mostly just a wire. Carrying them into place was what killed my back. Get them off the trailer and all that, and carrying them over to where they go, because I had probably had to park 100 yards away from where they're mounted, so I had to tote the dang things. But they're mounted. My panels are all mounted on the ground, and then I just prop up one side or the other, depending on. We live far enough south here that in the summertime now, the sun goes down to the north of us. So I actually turn my panels so they face to the north a little bit, where most people in the United States, south pointing is what you do. I do that in the wintertime, and in the summer I pointed north. So I make it so I can switch them. So it's really just a matter of, but because of the way I had them wired before, I had to take the whole system apart basically and start from scratch with all the wiring. So it was time consuming, and today was nice because it was cloudy and rain, but not so good for solar production. But the days I was doing it, it was 90 degrees at 8 o'clock in the morning and the sun just belting on you. I got up at 5 o'clock in the morning, it was 84 degrees. So it's like, there's no getting away from the heat. And then once the sun came up, I'm just pouring sweat the whole time. So that was the hardest part, was dealing with the temperature. And then, of course, every time I pick up a solar panel, I'm waiting to see a rattlesnake under there, like just chilling in the shade. It's like, son, but didn't see any. So, but yeah.
They in this neighborhood, they didn't have any solar panels on any of the houses because the covenants for the homeowners association said no. Which, I'm not here to debate that. What I'm getting at is Missouri then finally passed a law saying that they can't say no. No city or covenant can say no. So you have to allow people to do it. Well, and then people started putting them up, which didn't bother me. Matter of fact, I checked into it. And the only problem I saw, and of course, different scenarios here. You have made the life choice to do this and live off grid. That's how you're doing it. And it's obviously paying off in your situation. But for me, I asked my neighbor down the street that had some put on, how much he gave for his to have them installed. And when he gave me that, and he started explaining to me before he'd tell me how much. Now, mind you, I'm not paying any electric bill. Matter of fact, sometime they have to give me some money, blah, 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 blah. You know, he says, so then he told me what he paid for them. And I said, you know what? I'm 67 years old. I said, I got to live to 110. If I figure what I'm paying a month right now for the next 20 years, I'm not going to pay back what you paid for those panels. I'll be dead before I see any benefit from that. So there's no sense of me getting any solar panels. Because when he told me he spent $70,000 to put those panels on top of his house, I thought, what the hell are you talking about?
Wow.
Bob?
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe different. They just started cropping up around here within the last 2 years. I think that's roughly about the time Missouri passed that. If I'm right, but it's been less than 2 years now. He said that he had to pay that $70,000 up front, but supposedly there's some type of rebate that he's getting from Missouri back. I don't know if it's Missouri or the feds, but there's some money that's coming back to him.
Yeah, he should get a tax rebate thing from the feds.
But it still, when I put a pencil to it, and again, it's different. If I decided to retire and sell this house and do what you did, that's the way to go. I'm not, especially at the price you got them for. And I don't know if that's just this part of the country, or maybe this guy just isn't bright and he got ripped off. I don't know, but it just seemed like a lot of money.
Well, and I'll tell you, there's a huge difference between what Kelly and I did and what you're talking about doing. My mom did it in Phoenix. Phoenix gets a lot of sun. She didn't pay near that. She's 80 now, but she said, and she doesn't, very rarely does she have any electric bills. And it's usually like in January, February, she might have where she owes $20. But other than that, it covers everything. Now, my boy in Florida, he got it all priced out and everything. And he said, no, I'm not going to do it because like you said, it just wouldn't pay out.
Yeah.
What Kelly and I did, one, I do everything myself. So there's no installation charges. There's no anything else. I'm buying the parts. Yeah, I have to pay for the parts. But when you buy solar panels as cheap as I'm finding them, and even my other panels I got for $50 a piece, that was a smoking deal. So, you know, I don't have a lot of electric bills, but when I do have an electric bill, it's pretty big, you know, but like this one, I had an electric bill because I just bought a bunch of solar panels, but that was like $300 out of my pocket. And I got a bunch of solar panels that are going to pay my electric for the next 15, 20 years. So at that rate, yeah, it makes sense.
When you're doing the work yourself, you've got the property to set it out on. But see, that's the other thing. The installation, I'm sure, is a big hunk of that. Now, I know a guy that lives here in the metropolitan area that's got a big hunk of land, and all his are behind his house. I mean, he's got a big enough hunk of land that they're all behind the house. And those were probably a pretty easy installation. I mean, you can just see they put some posts in the ground, some concrete posts in the ground, and I don't know, they look great.
Doing it yourself saves a lot of money, and buying panels. Now, these panels I get, they're used, but they're tested and they're in good shape. And a lot of them, they'll use them on the side of the highway when they have the signs that say road work and stuff. And then the state just sells them. So they've been on the highway for 3 months, and then they just get rid of them. So you're getting barely used panels sometimes for really good prices. But it's kind of funny talking about all this stuff. I was at Go Game Go's channel the other day, and Poe's the one that turned me on to his channel, and I was watching him do a live stream, and he said to me, and I was chatting with him, and he asked me if I had big plans for the weekend. So I said, well, I got to work for the weekend. This was on Friday. I said, tomorrow's my Monday. And he goes, oh, that sucks. I said, yeah, but we only work the weekend, so Sunday's my Friday. And he said, well, how do you do that? Do you work the whole time? I said, no, we work 8-hour shifts. He thought we worked 24-hour shifts or something like firemen do. And I'm like, no, we just work 8-hour shifts. I said, that's what happens when you live off grid and you don't have any bills to pay. And he goes, oh crap, you really are off grid? It's like, well, yeah, I didn't just make it up for my channel.
And you figure if you got two of you working 2 days a week, that's the equivalent of 4 days.
Yeah, it's almost like a lot of places they'll tell people they're full time at 30 hours. Between me and Kelly and Greg we get there early because Kelly has to be there 2 hours before I do. And then I tell the overnight guy, if you want to go home, go ahead and go. I'm here. I might as well clock in and get paid. So yesterday he left at 5:30 in the morning, and today he left at 6. So I got 10 hours yesterday and 9 hours today. So between the two of us, we're working usually about 35 hours a week, which is like the same thing as one person working a full-time job almost. And we don't really have any bills. So
it's funny you mentioned the fireman thing, because I used to tell people it's true. When I was a shift, I ended up working at headquarters. I was an 8-hour day guy, but most of my career I was on that 24-hour shift. So you worked 8 days a month. Of course, you worked you worked 48 hours a week, but it was all done, and it was great. It was a great schedule. You worked, and to make it come out right, you worked on one, off two, on one, off two. Then after 8 shifts, you just took one of the on ones away. So once a month, you got a free day. So you got a 5-day vacation. Hell, when I retired, I had tons of vacation time they had to pay me out for, because you had 5 days. So, talking about working hours, it depends on how you gang them up. But, a guy can make a living doing that if it's done the right way.
The Ballistic Coffee Boy says in here, he works 80 hours per week. I work 80 hours per month and a half. Maybe 2 months. But
I don't want to share too much, but I got to tell you this. You talk about how many hours you work. One time, the department, before I retired, when I was working shift work, they were shorthanded, and they weren't hiring at the academy. I don't know, the city was complaining. But they would have saved money hiring people, because I remember I worked my 24-hour shift, and they needed somebody to fill in overtime for the next 24 hours. So I did that. I was getting ready to go home after 48 hours, and they said, man, we're still short. Do you want to stay? Okay. Well, I stayed another 24. That's 72. Well, then my shift came up. So add 24. Now it's getting more than I can add. 96 hours. And then I got done with that one, and the chief came up to me and says, want to pull one more? I could really use you. And who was I to say no? This was all time and a half.
Right.
So I just said, okay. And I think I ended up getting 96 hours of overtime in 1 week.
Yeah.
That was like, the chief even told me, he says, your check's going to be bigger than mine this week. He says, it kind of pisses me off.
Yeah. That's kind of like, Shelby works out there at Blue Origin, and they pay well. And she works 8 days on, 6 days off. So every time she works, and they do 10-hour shifts. So she's in overtime for like 3 days of the week. She gets overtime for the whole time. So her checks are ridiculous. She gets paid really well. Intellivision Gamer's he's on the show, but can't see anything about the contest. What am I doing wrong? Yeah, I don't remember if there's a time limit before you can see all the other channels, but I thought Derek shortened it down to just a short time. So you may just have to wait a little bit, and then you can access all those other channels.
Yeah, Derek had it originally set up to where you had to do something to get accepted, and he decided to take that off because it's just too complicated. And then there was a time limit, but it's a very short one. I think Discord makes it happen to be that way.
Right.
But
when you get in there, Casey, you'll be looking for arcade tourneys this week. That's where you put your picture or video of your score.
Yeah, if you just click onto the show part, you should see a bunch on the left-hand side. You should see all the different channels. And
there's arcade tourneys, there's console tourneys.
Well, actually, he changed it now. The ones that say arcade tourney and console tourney and pinball tourney, we're the only ones that can post in there. And so you'll just post your pictures and stuff in the arcade chat or the console chat.
Right.
And we'll grab the pictures and move them to the other one. One of us, so far it's been Derek's done most of them. I think I only did one. And then we'll post the spreadsheets and stuff so they don't get buried and people can just talk and have good conversations. And every once in a while, once or twice a day, I go through it and pull the pictures over. So you'll want to look for this week it'd be the arcade chat and just post your pictures of the scores in there. But
and we have a homebrew section. I know Casey's big into homebrew, so if you want to talk about that kind of stuff, and he just started an emulation section on there and a handheld too this week. So,
has Derek been in the chat? I haven't seen him. I'm looking back.
No, he wouldn't be. He told us in the Discord he wouldn't be here tonight.
Oh.
He had a prior engagement of some sort.
Well, to hell with him then. Why is he even on the Discord?
Yeah,
he had to take the night off so he could set up Mike's Gaming Gala's Discord. No, I'm just joking. It's just a joke.
I know he did set up. He does a good job though. I tease Derek, but he does a good job with ours, and I think he set up Retro Bliss's Discord too. So.
Yeah. See, now I talk about how little I work now, but I kind of figure I'm making up time for when I was in the Navy, and I would go to work one day in June and come back home from work in January. Because we go on a 6 or 7 month deployment where you're gone the whole time. So I worked a lot the first few years out of high school. So now I'm
yeah, it was rough for me in the Air Force too, where I went home every day for lunch, then came back home at the end of the day, was off on the weekends. The wife was there making dinner. It was tough.
Answer Bliss's question, Poe. He wants to know what your game you picked this week. Snoopy's pinball, but what did you do for the arcade?
The arcade, we did Gyrus, just like you did for the NES. Was that part of your Ninja for the month that ended here? Actually, right? This is Sunday the 30th, right? So, yeah, I picked Gyrus for the arcade, and I had never played it before. And then we had a video here where I totally sucked. So check it out later.
Yeah. I always tell people when my second deployment in the Navy, part of the time we went to the Azores Islands, and that was an Air Force base. And I got to see a little piece of how the Air Force life was, because that was the only barracks I went to that I had a maid that came and cleaned my room, and they would make our beds. And
yeah, I didn't have that experience.
Shine your shoes. Yeah, it was like, oh, these Air Force guys.
Yeah, I didn't have that experience, but my first tech school was near Lackland, where basic training. Well, it was actually in Lackland, but they put us in a little place called Medina, a little satellite area where we slept, and they had a mini BX there and stuff. But we get on the bus every day and go back to Lackland, where basic training was. So they were pretty strict in that tech school. But then the second half, for the missile part, we went to Vandenberg. Used to be an Air Force base, now it's a Space Force base, but out in California. And when we got out there, now it wasn't barracks, they built brand new dorms. So what are we, college students? But brand new, multi-million-dollar dorms, and beautiful place, And the chow hall was built in on the first floor. So you didn't even have to march, well, except for when you went to school during the day. But during the weekends, you could get up for breakfast or brunch, whatever you wanted. And we had, they closed down the permanent parties chow hall for a little while to do renovations. So they sent their good cooks over to us. So, I mean, the food was awesome. And just before I got there, my buddy was there. He was in a different career field, but he was there for the ICBMs, the big nuclear missiles. And he sent me a message, and he said, now and then we have surf and turf. We have lobster and steak and shrimp out here. And I'm like, you're freaking kidding me. And I got there, and he was right. It wasn't every week, but probably every 3 weeks or so, surf and turf was an option. And I'm like, wow. My brothers were in the Army and the Navy, and I had a brother-in-law that was in the Marines. They're eating like MREs and tents out in the middle of a field, and here we are in this beautiful new building eating lobster tail. couldn't complain. It was good.
Nice. Yeah, Mike's Gaming Galley. As the Army guy in the room, I assure you I'm the only one who actually worked in the service. Yeah. Well, you know, they had that old meme that was running around back in the day before I even knew they were called memes, where they had the 4 service branches of the military at 6 a.m. And had you seen that one, Poe, where they had the
Oh, yeah.
out there running, the Army's putting on their boots, the Air Force is tucked in bed, and the Navy guys are still at the bar.
Yeah.
But no,
My family is mostly a Navy family. My dad, my oldest brother, and my 2 nephews are Navy. So the only other one that was in the Air Force aside from me before me was my dad's first cousin, and now my son. And right now, he's at Shepherd Air Force Base, my son. So this is his first tech school. I imagine things will get a little bit easier once he finishes this and goes to his second half of his tech school out. He's going to the state of Washington, so he'll be out there near the Gaming Road Warrior when he gets to that.
Nice. Yeah. Well, I will say in my defense, Mike's Gaming Gala, yeah, you guys worked harder for sure with PT and stuff like that. But I will say, I was an air crewman on a P-3 Orion tracking submarines before the Soviet Union collapsed at the end of the Cold War. And I was talking to another gentleman who was ex-military retired guy. And he said, when he told me, when I was talking about what I did, he said, "Oh shit, you guys, we weren't at war, but my whole career was like we were at war. We were tracking submarines as if, if they're going to launch missiles, we had to be on them. So we were running as if it was wartime. We were tracking submarines and just nonstop. It was go, go, go back then. So I was pretty busy, but I wasn't wearing a backpack and running through the jungle getting shot at.
Well, I don't know. That's a Canadian army. Do they even have any enemies? Canada? Just joking, Mike. Just joking.
No, but I'll tell you what they do have. They do have the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Dudley Do Right. Do you remember Dudley Do Right?
Mm-hmm.
And Poe, was it true? Were you one of the original Village people?
I read that somewhere. I don't know where I read that.
There was no airman in the Village people. There was a sailor. And they sang about in the Navy. I don't know.
Yeah.
Young man. Drop your britches and grab your ankles, young man. All right.
Fair enough, Mike's Gaming Gala. Mike, we have lots of enemies because we're allied to you.
That's not the truth. Isn't that? What a terrible world these days. We don't get into politics here, but what a terrible world right now.
Yeah. Well, and I saw one of those things, the stupid people posts, and someone had posted something about countries in North America, and they mentioned Canada, and the idiot post is like, Canada's their own country. They're not part of America. It's like North American countries. Canada qualifies, but
I just saw a message come through here from Bliss, and he said he was in the Postal Service. That does count. You serve. G. Parker, firefighter. We love all of our people that take care of everybody. So it's not just about the military itself.
You talk about that Canadian thing, though. I went with some buddies. We rode our motorcycles and went up into Canada, which we thoroughly enjoyed. The biggest thing hard for us was especially Harley. Harley, a lot of your motorcycles have kilometers and miles per hour like your cars do. Harleys didn't. They just had miles per hour. So you had no idea if you were doing the right speed or not. And you didn't want to get a ticket in a foreign country. But everybody was nice up there. The other thing was the temperature. They said tomorrow the high is 30 degrees. I thought, holy crap, it's going to be cold. Well, that's Celsius. And the gas prices were per liter. It was just all crazy. But nice people.
Right.
But I do know you talked about that America thing. A lady asked us at one of the motels, where are you from? Where are you guys from? One of the guys said, from America. We're Americans. And I remember she kind of got an indignant look on her face. She says, we're Americans too. I mean, and she's right. They're she was looking for Missouri, Kansas, or United States or something. But I mean, it was obvious to her that we were from North America or United States because we're all pale. I mean, I guess my point is she just kind of looked indignant, and she was nice about it. But she says, we're Americans too, pal. And it's like, got us there.
Yeah, fair enough.
But it was a super, I got to admit, probably one of the, I go on enough about it, but everywhere we went, it was just nice people. Even the border crossing. I mean, it was easier to get into Canada than it was to get back home. When we went to show our passports, hey guys, welcome. You got anything? No. Okay, go on. Come back to the United States. What's your mother's maiden name?
Right. Of course, I think I told the story before, but I didn't have a passport. Of course, when I was in the Navy, I'd travel everywhere with my military ID, so I didn't need a passport. But a few years back, Kelly and I actually invaded Canada. Back when we did our geocaching a lot, we went up to the border there right north of Seattle, where the Big Peace Arch is, and there's a park on both the United States side. They're both American sides, right? North American. The U.S. side, the Canada side, there's a park, and you can park on either side and walk up. And there was a geocache just on the Canada side off into the woods. So we went up, took our pictures of the thing, and then just kind of wandered over there illegally, crossed the border, went to geocache. So we got credit for getting a geocache in Canada. And then we scooted back across the border. But they have since decommissioned that geocache, I think, because they figured out people were doing that. They were crossing over. And you do feel kind of sketchy when you don't have a passport. You walk through the park, it's no big deal. But then when you're ducking into the woods, it looks shady. And
and I make jokes with Mike just because we're buddies, but love the Canadians. And he's my favorite French Canadian guy, even more than Mario Lemieux. And that's saying a lot being from Pittsburgh. So
you talked about Seattle. Cheryl's brother lives in Seattle, and we went up to see him, and we went across the border to eat a meal with him. He knew a good restaurant in Canada. And we went up and we ate, but on the way back, and of course we went through a border crossing, showed our passports. But on the way back on the Canada side, we went to the border crossing, and he says, let me take you on this road. And he turned to the east, and we were headed east. He says, this is a road that runs between the border crossings. It's one little stretch he knew about. And he says, now, he stopped in the middle of the road. And he says, now, passengers, step out of the car. We're headed east. He says, you're on the south side. You are now in the United States. Now, let's trade places. You drive now, and I'll ride. He says, you are now driving in Canada, and I'm riding in the U.S. It was really kind of cool. But he said that was a line right down the middle of that road that was, but you weren't supposed to. He says, you really shouldn't. There were houses along this thing, but the backs of the houses faced it. He says those people can visit the people behind them, but they're technically, if they want to get in their car, they have to drive to the border crossing and cross. They can't just go to their neighbors and hop in their car and drive around. That's illegal. But they said the people out there, they go visit each other. And this is kind of a joke,
I'm waiting to see what Poe's answer to this is. Ballistics throwing him in a spot here. The New Mexican part's easy. / Texan. So yeah, Poe, who's your favorite Texan?
Hey, come on, you can't do that to me. My favorite Texan would be Ballistic because Bart's from Philadelphia. So he's my favorite Pennsylvanian aside from myself.
Ballistic, he's your favorite / Texan.
/ Texan.
Yeah, I wasn't. And when people ask where I'm from, yeah, I live here in Texas, but we've only been here 3 years. I still have lived most of my life in Arizona. So I feel more like an Arizonan than anything because I was 4 when I moved there and like 35 when I moved away. So
yeah, so you moved to Texas. Well, eventually you went all different places. And Ballistic started in Texas like you started in the Philly area. So
hold on. We got another consideration for you, Mo. Kelly says she's your favorite Texan.
Oh, so is Kelly originally from Texas?
No, well, no, but she does have family ties back to Texas. But no, she
was from Whoville, wasn't she?
She was from Whoville. Yeah, they kicked her out because she never got up to the height requirement. So they moved her down to the Smurfs, and she wasn't.
I thought that was Oz. Enough. Wasn't that Oz? No, that's not right.
Yeah, Arizona working. My mom sent me a thing the other day. She got up at 6 a.m. and it was 91 degrees, which was the low for the night.
It's not the heat; it's the humidity, the stupidity.
Right. Yeah.
Well, Micah, our son, just got back from Bahrain doing a tour in the military in Bahrain. The low at night was 105.
Yeah.
I saw what Mike said there, and actually, the first one I actually started watching was Brian from Brian's Man Cave, so that was the first Canadian. And actually, I think I probably started watching Papa Pete before I started watching Mike, so... There were 2 other Canadians before you, Mike. I cheated. I'm sorry. It wasn't really cheating. I didn't meet you yet. So,
what's that other guy, Mike? Isn't there a guy with that other talk show gaming channel that does is from Canada? What's that?
Gretzky? Nah, he's no Lemieux and Yager.
Well, no,
he's not the great one.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal in Phoenix. But I tell people all the time, I grew up in Phoenix, but I was in grade school and we had a pool in the backyard. So it wasn't until I visited Phoenix in the summertime as an adult, and I was like, when did this start happening that it's hot here? Because I would get up in the morning and go straight into the pool. And then the only friends' houses I would go to in the summertime were other friends that had pools.
Is that where Mel's Diner is?
Mel's Diner is in Phoenix. Yeah, you can still eat there.
I've heard that recently.
There is an actual, based off the show Alice. But yeah, it's still open, and they still do every year in late May, early June on at least one of the television local news channels. They will go out and fry an egg on the sidewalk. They do it every year. And I used to laugh. I'd watch the morning show, Good Morning Arizona, and the weather guy in May and June, there's like no humidity, never a cloud in the sky. And he'd do his whole weather report, and he'd talk to, he's at some puppy dog wash for charity thing. And he talks to all the people, and then he goes, "Oh, yeah, it's going to be hot and sunny today. Back to you." that was his whole weather report. It's going to be hot and sunny. Back to the studio. But, yeah. Kiss
my grits.
Talk about
Flo left the show, and she didn't she open up Flo's restaurant in Texas as a spinoff, Flo's Yellow Rose.
She had her own spinoff show that she must not have cooked as well as Mel, because it didn't last.
And then she was the old cranky Karen in the Gremlins movie.
That's right.
She was a bitch.
You talked about pools in Phoenix. My cousin lives down there, and he said, "You people up in the Midwest got heaters in your swimming pools." When Cheryl and I got married, she had and he says, "I don't." He says, "I got an ice machine sitting next to mine, and I keep pouring ice into that son of a bitch," because he says, "It's too hot to swim in. It's like getting in a hot tub."
Yeah, it can get like a hot tub in the summertime in the swimming pool. It's pretty crazy. And like, when I go visit my mom, like we very rarely visit my mom in the summertime, because why would you? She lives in Phoenix. But you don't turn on the hot water when you take a shower. You just leave the shower tap to cold, and it's coming out warm. You're taking it's not a hot shower. It's not going to burn you, but it's so hot outside. Who wants to come in out of 115 degrees and get into 150 degree, 110 degree water anyway? So, but it's not cold by any stretch. It is. So it's a very comfortable shower, and it sucks to brush your teeth because you're brushing your teeth with warm water. Like the sun, that's tap. It just, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the only other thing my cousin told me is different. It seems like it's smart. We'd be smart to do that, and even in this part of the country, it's so dry he has the greenest grass you've ever seen for somebody in Phoenix. And I asked him, seeing pictures of his house, I've never been down to see him, but he's got a nice place down there. And I said, how do you keep that grass green? Most people just have dirt, and gravel. And he says he has the way he waters his yard is it's not sprinkler heads like we have up here. He says that you'd be wasting water, just evaporate. He has an underground, it's an underground, like oozing, it just oozes out water, and his grass is just.
Yeah, all the sports fields and stuff like that, you go and they do it at night so it doesn't dry out. But there'll be 2 inches of water on the soccer fields and baseball fields, and then they just let that soak in. We had a really nice yard year round, and I asked my dad when I got older, because we lived in northern Arizona and I had a nice grass yard. And I said, how in the world did you keep that grass when we were in Phoenix for us kids to play on? He said, you don't want to know what our water bill was, because it took so much water in the summertime to keep that grass green. But
I'll see here, it's just the opposite. When we get those really hot days, we purposely mow the grass as low as we can so that it dies, so that we don't have to mow it again the next week. So,
right. yeah.
Well, my mowers, I got guys that come by and mow for me, and they skipped a week last week. Matter of fact, those poor guys, I don't know how they don't work during the winter. Well, I guess they do snow removal, but it gets so dry up here, and the grass starts burning up, like Poe said, that they go to somebody's house to mow, and they go like, I'm not paying you to mow it. It doesn't need it.
right.
Yeah. Ballistics yard is like Mars. Watch out. Elon will send a rocket over there.
You don't need a yard when you have a collection like Ballistics.
That's
And
right.
the one-up arcades and stuff. I wouldn't go outside ever.
Hey, did you guys see that? I know I don't talk a lot about it, but my boy works at SpaceX. Our daughter works for Blue Origin. Did you guys happen to see that Chinese rocket test they did? I think it was yesterday. It was supposed to be a static fire. It was just the booster section of the rocket. There was no capsules or anything on top, no payload, just the booster. They lit the engine and the thing took off. The clamps or whatever that hold it down, I don't know if they malfunctioned or what happened, but the thing launched and then just dropped down and exploded. My boy sent me a video of that from Twitter, X, whatever, and he said, I said, well, on the bright side, it did fire. So the part of the static fire. But yeah, they tried to it should have been strapped to the pad, test fire the engines, make sure they light, and the rocket went. With no top on it. It was just.
They had premature launch.
I have that problem once a month.
Yeah. Our yard is complete dirt, mesquite bushes, and some other little bushes. No grass at all. Can't get grass to grow out here at all.
No need for a mower, though.
That's true. That is true. In Arizona, up in northern Arizona, when I had my kids, not when I was a kid, but I had a really nice yard, and our section of town, they didn't have a public park. So the grass in my front yard was the only grass in a half-mile radius. So all the neighbor boys would come over, and they'd play football and whatever they wanted to play. We'd play kickball in the yard and set up bases and all that stuff and just have a great time. And but all the kids came to our house because it was the only piece of grass. Then I sold the house, and they ripped it out, like you were saying, Greg. They covered all my yard, sprinkler systems and all that stuff, covered it with plastic and put rock in it. I'm like, son of a, I worked so hard to make that grass nice. And they just rocked over top of my yard because they didn't want to mow. And one day I was putting up a badminton net for the boys to play, and the UPS guy stopped, and he goes, man, you got a nice yard. Why do you let these kids play on it like that? And they're running all over it. I'm like, do you think I grow a yard because I like to mow? I grow a yard so my kids can play in it. That's why I have the grass. It's like, yeah.
Well, some people have, I don't know if you got it in your area, but I know I saw one guy that lived out in California that had San Diego area. He had ash. Of course, they got a little bit of yards. Space is a premium. You know, their houses sell for like 10 times what I paid for mine. And they're a lot, you know. But he had AstroTurf down. You know, it was like a AstroTurf yard. I mean, I found that totally unbelievable. No mowing, no maintenance.
Yeah.
I'm missing
You
something.
can't beat them, eat them.
Yeah. Well, what's that old joke talking about? I don't know. I guess this one, and then talking about fine until you turn 49. What is that old joke when the three old guys are complaining about their bodily functions not working as well, and the one guy says, "Man, I get up in the morning, and I feel like I gotta pee, and I just stand there at the toilet. Nothing happens. Finally, I'm able to pee." And the other guy says, "Man, I get up every morning, I sit down on the pot, and it feels like I got to do the poops, and just nothing happens. Third guy says, "Shoot, every morning, 8 o'clock, I pee, no problem. I poop, no problem." They said, "Well, then what you complain about?" "I don't get out of bed till 9.
Right?
Oh my god.
That's a good old one. Oh man.
Well, I'll tell you what, guys, it's heading on 8 o'clock for me. I'm starting to hear some mild fireworks, and I know Miss Betty's either going to come running down the stairs or Cheryl's going to come tell me to come hold on. She usually leaves me alone during the show, but she said this dog gets to panting and start acting like it's going to have a heart attack. The vet also gave me some medicine for her, but you have to put it in a syringe and put it between her cheek and gum.
Oh,
And she won't lay, and you just squeeze it in there, and she won't hold still for Cheryl. I guess I don't think Cheryl wants to hold her that hard. I just grab her and pull her mouth open and stick that thing in there and do it and get it done quick.
we got those little gummies for Nacho for when it storms. And even if it rains, he knows that means a storm might be coming. And he starts flipping out. And last night, the neighboring town did their 4th of July fireworks early, and he was going ape about that. So you give him one of those, and he just mellows out. I don't know the exact name of the thing, but
Betty does great during thunderstorms. It's almost like it puts her to sleep. You can put her in her little kennel thing that she sleeps in, and she'll sleep clear through the night. And I'm the one that's awake, you know, damn thunder and lightning and worried about stuff. And so we thought she'd be fine. This, you know, she's going to be a year next month. This is the first 4th of July, but some kids lit some fireworks at first, just some firecrackers, and she kind of growled at them and barked a little bit. But then all of a sudden the M80 started going off.
oh yeah.
And she's weird, like she can handle Cheryl drying her hair in the bathroom. The hair dryer doesn't bother her. The vacuum cleaner and a hand mixer. For some reason, the hand mixer sends her into orbit. Like if Cheryl's making a pie or whipping some whipped cream or something, and making a hand mixer, makes her nuts. Let's see, I throw my chihuahuas in the backyard for tiny. So you got Ballistic. See, that's what I got, a little chihuahua. So I didn't know Ballistic had. Let's see, you must have chihuahuas. You said that in plural. So that's kind of cool.
Pippa and Poppy. Ballistics. Check out his shorts.
Yeah, I love my little chihuahua. She's a good girl. We talked. We ran into somebody that had some little puppies the other day, and I thought, oh, it'd be cool to have another one. But then we remembered how old we are, and that's why we got a small dog in the first place, because we had one that we could pick up. But you still got to chase after her. Oh my god, I can't imagine having two of them try to kill us both.
That's so funny. Ballistic named his chihuahuas that because we had two cats that were named Pippa and Poppy. And Poppy, unfortunately, passed away a while back. But Pippa, she's still here. She's a little over 12 years old now. That's my kitty. She's a little overweight. I call her Big Bone. The wife calls her fat. I said, that's not nice. She's just Big Bone.
Nice. That's funny, though. What a coincidence. Yeah.
Well, guys, I'm going to get out of here. I'll leave it to you two to enjoy each other's company and finish up with these fine folks. Just a reminder.
I'll get with you sometime, Greg, about that ROG. Thank you very much once again for sending that. But yeah, I probably do need a little bit of guidance with the thing. So
yeah, it's I'll tell you, I've primarily used it for retro gaming, the stuff, our deals that we got. Now, I'm using that Retro Arch on Steam, and if Derek's hooking you up with something, that's great. My reason with going with the, and maybe that's what Derek's going to do, is give you whatever you need for that, but I found it took less space. And the other thing I find that I'm doing with it is I got the Xbox set up here, like in the game room, and sometimes I can play the Xbox on it. It acts like one of those devices you can get for a PlayStation. You can actually open up the Xbox, turn it on with the ROG, and play the Xbox game handheld mode. So like you said, if the family is watching TV or something, I'm not really into it, but I want to spend time with them, I can sit here and be playing Gears of War. Most of those Gears of War videos I put up without my picture in the corner were all shot on the ROG.
Oh, nice. Yeah, see, I'm looking forward to some of these Xbox-only games because I haven't owned an Xbox since the original Xbox way back in the day. And when Microsoft bought Rare, and they came out with that newer Battletoads game, I was bummed. I was hoping they would bring it out for the Switch, and I know it didn't get good reviews, but love Battletoads. And now I'll be able to play that, but I need to be able to set up the controls for it. I brought it up on there, and I had a few problems with it, but at least I know I can bring it up on that ROG, and I'll be playing some Xbox Live games here soon.
The controls in handheld mode are pretty good. The only drawback I see to that, and for anybody else watching, maybe they'd like to know about this, the ROG is to me, and now they've had it a while, is a great product. But have you ever noticed you've got a thing that you can set in there where it can play gamepad mode or PC mode?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you can put it in where it's auto. Well, the problem is it will be playing in game mode and everything's playing, but then when you go back to the computer side of it, want to get in there to run something or look at something, it kind of gets confused. It doesn't seem to want to go back into computer mode till you just kind of jiggle the sticks a bunch of times, and it gets frustrating. But I've learned to get around that. The only other thing is, like I say, using a controller. Now, have you tried using I was curious, you have PlayStation controllers. I wonder if PlayStation controllers will work with it.
I read something where it would. I think there's a little bit of doing with that. My son does have an Xbox controller for his gaming PC just sitting there, so I should probably try that. I haven't tried a different controller yet with it. There's a lot I need to try out with this, and a lot of videos I need to watch on the thing. But when I tried to play Battletoads, it was trying to do it like as if I was playing on a PC with a keyboard. You know, when I would bring up the controls, that was the only option it was giving me at that time, and it was like, hit this button on the keyboard, and I'm like, I don't have a keyboard hooked up to this thing. I'm trying to use it in handheld mode. So I didn't have a lot of time to do a lot of research. Like I said, it was a really busy week this week. So hopefully come tomorrow, I'll have more time.
Well, we'll get together privately on it. But last thing I'll say about that here is, since you got that dock thing, it gives you an extra USB port. And that's the nice thing. I went and bought a small one. And I don't mean miniature like small, but I can show it to you. I got it right here. This size keyboard. It's just
right.
And a mouse combo that uses one of those dongles. And I put that in the that USB port on that thing that you bought from Amazon. And I always have it sit next to me. Then you're flawless. Because if you get to something where you got to use a mouse and a keyboard, it's right there. And then if it works with a controller, you got the controller. But it seems like you almost have to, if you want to get out of one game and go to the next, you got to use a combination of keyboard, mouse, and controller. And that's the only – and there's probably somebody out there smarter than me that could tell you, you dumbass, this is what you could have done and saved yourself all that trouble. But I don't know. I still enjoy it, though. I think it's a neat piece of equipment.
You guys totally blew me away. I was surprised as hell. I was expecting other packages last week. And when I walked out there, what was it, Monday? And we actually talked and chat before that happened. I didn't even go out on the front porch for a while. And then I see this box sitting there and your name on it. And I'm like, wait a minute, what's this? And then I was like, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna shoot a video while I open it because I have no idea what this thing is. And wow, when I turned it around and saw what it was, I couldn't believe it. So this is going to be a lot of fun.
And I want to give credit to the whole group here. I don't want to, Derek participated in some of it, but Bart and we all got together and talked about it. So I feel like Bart, Mike, you, me, Derek, we're all kind of a family here, plus our viewers. And so, I just want to say that the conversation went around before it came to light. So I want to say that, consider it something from the family to you. That's the way I look at it. It's fun. We've all done this. I know you've gotten me some games for my my MetaQuest, and Bart and Bart sent some stuff people's way. I don't know, so I don't know. It's fun. I think it's fun. I think we got a good group, and my wife was she loved your video. She just because I told the story beforehand. I'll tell it now. When we went to the store I had mentioned to her, I thought this would be fun to shock Poe and send him, but they didn't have them. They've dropped the price on these. If you want one of those, Sam's Club has got them at the best possible price you could ever get. But here locally, they were out of them. And I was pissed because I thought, well, how dare you advertise something at a great price and not have it? And we walked into a Sam's Club that wasn't near us. We had to go away from home for a little bit. And we walked in this club, and Cheryl walked. She says, "Is that the thing you're talking about?" I said, "Yeah." She says, she picked up the thing. You got to pick up a thing and take it up front for them to get it for you. And I said, "Well, I bet they still don't have it." She gave it the lady. She took it. She said, "Let me see." She went back and she came back with it. And I looked at Cheryl. I said, "Are you?" She says, she gave him her card. Said, "Get it." So like I say, Miss Cheryl, she's a good gal, and she.
Yeah, definitely. Thank her for me. Thank her for me for sure.
So it was a good.
And when it came, I thought that maybe you did one of those stool sample in a box that you were sending out and sent it to me instead. Man, I would have checked it for you. I don't know what I was looking for.
Yeah, it was fun. Even Miss Betty, I set it down, and Betty went over, and she's still a pup, and she looked like she was going to chew on it, and I said, "No, that's for Nacho to chew on when he gets."
Well, he was very interested in the box, and so were the cats. So they got the box after the fact.
Oh, and the last thing I'll say about that is I thought at the last minute I went upstairs because I keep it in the bedroom. Sometimes I'll go upstairs and had a Cheryl, and I'll play my Xbox on it in bed. And I printed me a 3D printed me a holder for it, and it was the night before I mailed it. I said, "Don't seal that box up yet, Cheryl." I said, "I got the printer down there running one of those."
Yeah, that is awesome. Yeah. That is awesome.
So anyway,
I almost missed that because you had it wrapped up in a different piece of paper, and at first I kind of put that aside, and I'm like, "Wait, there's something in here." I'm like, "Oh, that's a dock for the thing." Okay.
I thought about that. I thought, if he's like me, he'll probably get excited and throw all that paper away, and that son of a gun will be gone. But Bart will tell you that was probably 5 cents worth of plastic that made that paper. What a big deal.
Right.
Well, I said I was leaving, but you guys have a good night. And Bart, I'm leaving it with you and Poe. You guys can enjoy each other's company together.
Yeah, we can do our wrap up or bull crapping or whatever you want to do here.
Yeah. Do your little village people thing, your little Navy and Air Force thing. That'll be fun. See you guys later.
All right. We'll see.
Good night, Greg.
All right. Bye now.
Okay. Let's see. I am going to back up here, Poe. There was some conversation on it, and I know, Poe, you can't see the chat, right? So.
All right. I still didn't get my line run out here from my computer yet. One of these days.
I'm going to back up all the way up here because Ballistic had said he asked you and Mike, you got alien abduction for the 2600. Oh. Because Ballistic did not, and he has it on his VCS though, and Mike did not. Yeah, I'll tell you what, guys, you can borrow Poe's at any time. I'll let you borrow it.
And I felt like I had to get this, and I was saving this for my final thoughts. But John Van Ryzen made Hero for the 2600 back in the day, and then he made this for the VCS. Was it a year ago? My sense of timing is bad. I bought it immediately on the VCS and loved it. It's just like Hero, the new Hero, right? And I played it on my channel when it came up for the VCS, and I played it quite a bit when it first came out. But unfortunately, I don't turn my VCS on nearly as much as I should. So I haven't played it for a while. I'm going to be doing an unboxing of this. It's still sealed right now. So in my video, I'll cut it open and we'll take a look at it. But I was really excited about this. And somebody, the Zero Homebrew, somebody did a recent interview with John Van Ryzen about this game. And yeah, I was so excited to have it on the VCS, and then to find out they were coming out with an actual physical cartridge for your 2600. And they added more levels to it. David Crane, you know, in the kitchens run Audacity games. And this is the second game they've brought out so far. I had to get it. I didn't get the super duper special edition because, yeah, funds are a thing, right? I couldn't spend $100 right now being off from work. But I was able to manage this. We'll call it an early birthday present to myself. Next Sunday, the 7th. I think that's the 7th. That's my birthday. We'll do a whole birthday show just for me where you guys can all send me stuff.
Excellent. Yeah. Kelly said she was ordering you something just earlier today, but it was on one of those adult sites. I don't know. So I don't know what it was, but yeah.
Yeah, I kind of treated myself to that, even though I haven't been trying to buy a lot. A lot of the stuff that I send you guys was things that I ordered months and months ago and are just now showing up. Atari.
Ballistic, I just popped that up really quick. Is that a reference to Dogma? Because they were talking earlier about all the Canadians, and he mentioned Alanis Morissette, who played God in the movie Dogma.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. See,
something about her that was like dirty and cute at the same time. I don't know what it was. But.
Yeah. I just wanted to take her to a movie theater one time.
Like Dave Coulier.
Yeah.
Was that who the song was about? That's what I've heard the song was about. Uncle Joey.
That's the rumor, but then I just saw something the other day where they said that both of them had said it's not now, but I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. It is a great movie. That movie, actually, I watched Dogma. See, now we're getting to our Flicks connection part of this whole instead of the vinyl. I watched Dogma because of all the hype. I heard this Kevin Smith guy's getting death threats and all this because of this movie, so I watched it. And then I started watching I went back and watched them in order: Clerks, Mallrats, Dogma again, Chasing Amy, and Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, all that stuff. Man, just great series of movies. I love them. Yeah, let's see. Alan Rickman, yeah. I am the Metatron. Yeah, what did he say? If you don't make a movie about it, you won't know who they are. And I don't know if you guys are. You might be as familiar as I am with these movies. Jason Mewes, that plays Jay in Jay and Silent Bob, he was so intimidated when he found out that the guy from Die Hard was going to be in Dogma. He memorized the entire script so he wouldn't mess up any of his lines, everybody's parts. Yeah, it was. He was so intimidated by Alan Rickman being there. Yeah, they are such good movies. And I know he can't make it to a lot of our things, but Retro Man Randy Savage, we always, whenever we see each other in comments, we always snoochie boochie each other. We're always talking about it. Can't use the whole bloody can. Yeah. God is a skee ball fanatic, and it about cost her all of existence, playing some skee ball and those little devil kids. with their rollerblades and hockey sticks. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, was she on that? You can't do that on television? Alanis Morissette was on that?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. I liked all those movies. I still have not seen Clerks 3 though. I haven't seen it yet.
I haven't seen that one yet.
I've seen all the other ones, but I haven't seen it. Wait, hold on. You met Alan Rickman once when you were on Harry Potter? Nicest and most humble guy ever. You were on Harry Potter?
Definitely Slytherin.
Yeah. yeah, he passed. Rick. Yeah, such a great, and he did such a great job in Die Hard. Just a perfect bad guy in there. Yeah, I'm waiting. I'm looking at the chat over there. I'm waiting for the Mike's story here with the Alan Rickman. Oh, I wasn't on camera. I worked on 2 of the films. Oh, that's cool.
That's nice. Yeah, that's pretty sweet, actually.
Yeah. Shoot the glass. Which is always
I met the blonde-haired kid at Steel City Con. My daughter wanted to meet him. And actually, he was like the coolest person. Well, not the coolest person in the world. Henry Winkler was the coolest person in the world to meet. But, hey, I mean, but the kid was really cool. The kid, yeah, he was really cool.
Yeah. Let's see. Doctor Who marathons back in the day. Nice. Yeah. Now Kelly and I went down. I don't know. I'm sure you remember, Poe, when we were doing that big TV show for Paramount Plus, and they shot it right here in Van Horn. And of all the extras that were there to be the walking people in town, just the rant. Kelly and I were the only 2 that made it into the show. And if you know the exact time to look for nearly 1.5 seconds, you can see us walking. It's pretty cool. And we're not even close to being in focus. I'm a blurry, bald guy, and Kelly was on the other side of the camera from me. So she's mostly blocked. You just see
I never got on screen for anything. I did do the phone systems for the Mothman Prophecy here in Pittsburgh. They had 2 different locations where we needed to set up a temporary phone system for them. So I got to see the model of the bridge and all of that stuff behind the scenes, and meet Richard Gere and all that stuff briefly. Just we were phone technicians, so what did he care about us? But I mean, we did that, and the Pennsylvania coal miners story. Disney came to town, and we set up their phone system. And this was early 2000s. They were the biggest a-holes I ever met. These people from Disney.
Yeah. Now Kelly's talking here because you couldn't see her, and she said in the summertime they shot it in the middle of winter. There were Christmas decorations up at the town hall, but the show was set in the summertime. They made us take our coats off, and we're wearing short sleeve shirts and stuff. So we're out there freezing, just acting like we're not cold. And but they kept coming in and asking me to move my car because we all parked right in front of the courthouse where they shot the scene. And they kept having me move the car. So I said, "Do you want me to just move the car around the corner? Because we live out here in the desert and our car is filthy. The dust I could wash the car today and tomorrow you wouldn't know because it's just covered in dirt." So I'm like, "Do you want me to just move it around the corner?" So they said, "No, we're having you move your car so that it's in the shots because your car looks authentic. It's not pristine and all that." And one of the scenes the main actors are in this SUV and the camera is on a dolly and it pans up and gets to the car, and they moved our car right behind that car that they were all in. So our car gets a big old shot of being in the thing. And then that's the car that got stolen. And we don't have that car anymore. The most famous one of the whole group, and it's gone now. But yeah, our car was in Yeah, it was super cold. They made us keep walking and keep walking and keep walking. Go to the corner. Okay, I forget what they'd say, something for us background people, and then we'd start walking and we'd go into the courthouse. Okay, reset, and we'd run back over. And just kept doing that. But it was fun. Ballistic met Johnny Depp at a 7-Eleven. Nice. Buying lottery tickets for his crew, and he hugged you. Nice.
They're awesome, and he met Neil Patrick Harris and the dude that played Jesse Pinkman on Breaking Bad.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to sign up for a thing to be extras, and because I had a blast, and they paid awesome. Yeah, it was cold, and we walked that 3 or 4, probably 8 times. We had to walk from the corner to the thing, to the front door. So you're talking about 50 yards, maybe that, or less than that, probably 30 yards. And we got paid $800.
Nice.
So it's like, yeah, I'll do this. I can stop going to the hotel. Just, yeah. Oh, let's see. Kelly met the last girl surviving on Friday the 13th, part 3 at a grocery store in Palmdale, California. Nice. Mike tried acting when he was younger. He was an extra in 2 X-File episodes back in the day.
Nice.
Let's see. Party with Greg the Hammer Valentine and Jim Hammer.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Greg the Hammer's still alive and kicking, man.
Julia Roberts used to live there. Yeah. Huge X-Files fan. Yeah, X-Files awesome.
My hometown, they've shot a few series and movies in the last few years, but they weren't anything that I ever watched. I can't even remember. What was the one with an alien? Something about, was he number 11 or I Am 11 or I can't remember what it was. I never even watched the movie. But then there was another TV series that was shot there a little while back.
Yeah. They shot when I was in Prescott, the Prescott, Arizona area, they shot, it was Alec Baldwin and Kim Basinger. Was it The Getaway or something like that? I can't remember, but they shot it in Prescott, and we were doing, me and my dad were roofing a house in town. One day we drove down, and there were all kinds of smashed up cop cars, and we're like, what's this all about? And then I watched the movie. I heard about what it was. We watched the movie, and they shot all these scenes, and it was hilarious. They shot a scene right outside of Prescott, and then they showed them crossing the border into New Mexico, and then they got in this big chase scene that was all over downtown Prescott, Arizona. It's like, where? And we're like, yeah, that's this part. That's over here. What the hell? Didn't get to see it, but we see all the cars and stuff.
My wife's hometown, a couple miles from here, is where they shot that one with Matt Damon and Jim from The Office and the woman from Fargo. I don't even remember the name of that one, but it was a big deal. Everybody was trying to go out to the countryside to meet these guys. And there's an old country store that's been there forever. And they changed the name of the store and everything for the movie, but they had a few scenes right there. So that was like a big deal, too.
Nice. Ballistic shared a cigarette with Blondie. They were married twice.
Was she hairy?
Was she? Nice. Yeah. Should send you an autograph headshot. Nice. Yeah. There you go. Mike's Gaming Gal signed photo. I'll unbox it. Oh, nice. Is it the final day of YouTuber of the month? We should all go vote. She was hairless. Wait a second. That was a very intimate cigarette session, apparently. Yeah. The nudist club in Minnesota. Yeah. Well, anything else going on, Poe?
Yeah, just I got that game. It was a big week for things coming in the mail. G. Parker, Derek sent me the ROG, and then I finally got my 7,800 or 2,600 plus games from Atari. Yay, Fatal Run and Ninja Golf. I did unbox this one on my channel. I didn't even open Ninja Golf yet, but I was more excited about Alien Abduction coming. So, gonna do a video about this. I'll unbox it, and that's about it. And I did get Luigi's Mansion 2 HD for the Nintendo Switch this week. My boy has it. He bought it digital. I actually bought it for him physical, and he's like, oh, I already bought it, Dad, for my Switch Lite. So I said, okay, well, there's at some point you can open up a multiplayer. You have to play through so far. So I went ahead and signed my boy up. Well, I did the family plan for Nintendo Switch. I always had just Nintendo Switch, the expansion or whatever on there for ourselves. But now that he's away, I figured I would do the family plan or whatever. So I did that today so that he can join. And once I get to that part where I can play multiplayer, I can play with him while he's in Texas. So.
Yeah. And we did something similar. Shelby had that plan for where you can play the online and all that stuff. And then we decided, hey, let's make it into a family plan, and you pay for it, Shelby. And
well, my boy did offer to pay half of it, so it would be like we're both paying for our own membership. So.
Yeah, Shelby did that with something else. What's the other thing where? Oh, she did the YouTube Premium, so you don't have to watch the commercials and stuff.
Oh, and yeah.
I was joking with her, and I'm like, hey, they have a family plan for that, you know. She picked up her phone. She goes, all right, you're in. So
I had that briefly back in the day. I think it was called YouTube Red back then or something like. I think when Cobra Kai first came out, I had that, and then I didn't renew it.
Yeah. We have it because Shelby pays for it, so it's even better. But yeah, she did the same thing. She already had the game plan on the Switch, so she said, "Yeah, I'll just add it to the family plan. It's just a couple bucks more by that point, right?"
Yeah, so. I thought it'd be great. And my daughter said something about possibly her boyfriend was talking about getting her a Switch or a Switch Lite. So we'll do the same thing. We can add her whenever that comes around. Because they're getting a new apartment in August once she goes back to school. They're getting an apartment together, so she won't. Well, she moved back home, but she didn't really. She's never here. She's here maybe one night a week. But yeah, if she ends up getting a Switch, then hey, I think you can add 8 people to that plan or something like that. So
yeah. Oh yeah, I'm getting tired. My 4 a.m. wake up calls catching up with me.
Yeah, I don't blame you. That stinks. We got to get together and play something again soon.
Right. Yeah, we do. And man, I can't wait for summer to get over to where I can get out here more often. I got to figure out how to insulate this thing better because it sucks. 3 or 4 months of the year, it's just brutal to come out here. But I'll get out of bed at 5 o'clock in the morning, and any videos I got to shoot or anything, that's when I do it because it's just too hot.
Right.
You know, by 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock in the morning, it's already getting hot out here.
Yeah, I went a little nuts last week. I blew my load at the beginning of the week. I think I ended up doing like 5 videos within 2 days, so that I didn't do anything more. So yeah, I got to get around to some of these games I want to play for the channel, but we'll see.
Yeah, Ballistic, I do work, just not a lot. Saturday and Sunday, we have to get up at 4 a.m. because Kelly has to be to work at just before 5. And then I work 7 to 3. She works 5 to 1. And we ride together. So, yeah, got to get up before I grab myself. Yeah, we only have a queen-size bed, and Kelly gets mad when I don't get out of bed before I go to the bathroom.
Oh, man, that's all we have, too, and I'm friggin' huge. But
yeah.
As soon as I get up to go to the bathroom or something, she just keeps scooting over till I have like a whole cheek hanging down to the floor.
Yeah. Well, we're loving it now because a queen-size bed is huge. Because for 4 years, we lived in the motorhome. And the bed in that was barely a double bed. I don't even think it's as wide as a standard double bed or full-size, whatever you want to call it. and it wasn't as long. I had to sleep on the one side so my feet could stick out because it's in a 3-wall nook. So, and the bed was 6 feet from wall to wall. So I'm 6'1", so that doesn't work. So
right.
I sleep with my feet would stick out off the bed past the wall. And we got a queen size bed. And then the other bummer with that one in the motorhome, the way that motorhome is laid out, it's an older motorhome, no slides or any of that. When you're sitting on the toilet, my knees almost are touching the bed. So if you had a rough Taco Bell day, it's not good for whoever's. If you don't make it through the night, you're like, whew. So even when we were at the campground, we had an outhouse that we would use for with a composting toilet just for courtesy. You know, it's like,
right.
You want to be going to the bathroom when someone's trying to sleep and you're, resting your
We had
knees
the same rule when we had our camper, our travel trailer. It was the same rule. It's like number 1 is okay, and then number 2 only if it's an emergency.
Yeah,
but we did have the camper version of a queen, which meant I think it was as wide as a queen, but it wasn't as long as a queen. So I had the same problem, feet hanging off the end of it.
Yeah, and like I said, and it was 6 feet wall to wall. So if you try to like lay on your stomach, now your feet are pointing out, so you're picking up even more. It's like it was impossible. But we lived in that thing for about 4 years. We lived in that motorhome. But it was fun though. It was. Kelly put good times. It was an interesting thing, and we pretty much redid the whole interior and turned it into a motorhome for 2 people because it was just me and Kelly. And
I loved my camper when I had it. We loved going to KOAs and being members of the KOAs and stuff like that. We had such a great time with that thing.
Yeah. The biggest problem with it is trying to work on the plumbing and stuff like that. If you need to replace the sink or get under there, it's just so small. But I just send Kelly under there, give her a little step stool. She could reach up, change the plumbing. But no, it was fun, and I'm glad we did it. It was a very interesting, fun time of our life doing all that stuff. And it led to being here, which when we first got here, we thought it'd be kind of like camping all the time, living in a tiny house out in the desert, off grid and all that. And now we just keep increasing our solar capacity. So now I sit and I watch YouTube and play video games inside in the air conditioning. So it's not like camping at all. Yeah. We worked at a campground up in Colorado who paid. You got to live there for free, and he paid you full pay for every hour that you work. And we made more money when we started there. We were getting paid better than what we were getting at our jobs in Arkansas. So it was a no-brainer. It's like we're getting a pay raise to go live there up in the mountains in Colorado, and we ended up staying for 4 seasons.
I saw what Ballistic said, and you know what? You can't beat it. Even after we ended up selling our camper because we weren't getting out as much, we were still going to KOAs, but they would have what they called their lodges, which were just a trailer, but they would put like fake logs siding on the side. But it was still great. There was enough rooms for each of us kids. Some of them had a loft depending on where you went. So if we went to Virginia Beach or we went to Myrtle Beach, we would still go to the KOAs there. We would fly in for Myrtle Beach, rent a car, go pick up all kinds of stuff from the local Walmart so that we had stuff to cook, and they would have a kitchenette and those things, and you would have a grill outside and a fire pit so you could make all the food you wanted or go out to eat. It was still a great time being at those campgrounds without our camper when the kids were younger. So, and I think it would still be fun now, even though my kids are grown up and gone. I think you have more fun at those places than you do at a hotel at places like Virginia Beach and stuff, because you have a little yard and you go out and you hang out and you have your wine coolers and beers and stuff in the evening. You roast some marshmallows and I love the KOAs. Yeah, Mike, we're really roughing it. Some people are shocked when they find out,
you live off grid. Well, what people think living off grid means we go down to the creek with a bucket to get our water, and we used to have an outhouse when we first got here. We had an outhouse for the reasons mentioned earlier. But and then I tell them, no, I mean, we use Starlink, so we have internet. We have our cell phones, of course, we are fully, plenty of power, all that stuff. Ballistic said, do you live in a tiny house or a camper? We lived in the camper when we first got here, and then we bought one of those tough sheds, just a 10 by 24, put some doors and windows in it, insulation, and then it was a mixed deal. The Class A motorhome was still our bathroom and our closet, basically. All our clothes we kept out there, and we would go in there. There was in the house, we had a kitchen with running water, but we didn't have a toilet or bathroom in the house. You'd have to walk it over to the motorhome. And then this summer, or early summer, late spring, we added on another bedroom and turned where we had the bed in the house into a bathroom. So we have an indoor bathroom now, and still use a composting toilet for it, but it's in its own separate little room, so you can go do your business and people don't, you're not sitting right next to the bed while you're doing it. So, but now we're in a tiny house, and the motorhome is pretty much storage and our second bathroom. So if someone's in taking a shower in the house, you can go out to the motorhome and use the bathroom. You're not, of course, we live at 5 acres out in the middle of the desert. Our nearest neighbor is a quarter mile away. The next one after that's a mile away. So usually if someone's in the shower and I just got to pee, I'm just out in the yard peeing on the fence. Try not to hit the wire where we electrified for the dogs. But Does living off grid means no Starbucks? Because I don't know. I've had people come into the hotel here. We're in Van Horn, Texas, far away from everything, 1,200 people, and there's no Starbucks. They're like, where do you go for coffee? And I'm like, we're at the hotel Holiday Inn. There's a coffee mug right over there, big old coffee, fresh made. And they go, no. I said, McDonald's? Well, where's the nearest Starbucks? Oh, okay. For that, you go right over here, get on I-10 and drive 2 hours west. When you get to El Paso, you'll find yourself a Starbucks.
Not just Starbucks, Ballistic, but no Prime, no Amazon Prime. So Ballistic, you're out when it comes to this, right? Along with me. I send stuff. I've sent a few things to Off Grid through my Amazon Prime. Actually, I have his address saved on my Amazon account. And but when you send it, it's not getting there the next day or the day after that like it does here in Pittsburgh. So, But he'll get it eventually. So, but I mean, if you're Ballistic and you're waiting for packages like I am all the time, I don't know if you want to live out in the desert.
We feel thrilled if I order something on a Monday and I get it that week on Friday, I'm ecstatic. Because usually it's 7 to 10 days, even using Prime. It's so we actually cancel our Amazon Prime because it's just not worth it. We could still get free shipping if you order $35 worth or something like that.
Yeah.
So just put together a bigger order, and instead of 7 to 10 days, it gets here in 8 to 12 days. What's the difference? But we save all that money. And then I think Shelby still has Amazon Prime, so I just use that on my TV to watch the movies. So yeah, it is. But I joke around with people all the time. We had a gentleman that was working at the hotel, and he ended up leaving because he moved here from a big city, and he left here to go back to New York City. And he said, "Yeah, there's nothing to do here. Van Horn Mall. There's no movie theaters. There's no." And I said, I know what you mean. I work on Saturday and Sunday, and during the week I don't come to town because there's too many fucking people. We live out here in the middle of nowhere because that's kind of how we like it. We're far away from everybody. Yeah, it takes 2 hours to get to the nearest Walmart, but I don't need to go to Walmart that often. We go once a month or so, do a bunch of grocery shopping, and
Right.
then so I am done. I don't know if Kelly had a nickel for every time she hears me say when we're in a big city waiting in traffic, and I say, these people choose to do this every day. They drive in this traffic.
Right. I don't like it. You know, I grew up not in town where my parents lived, and I'm not right in town here either. I do have these neighbors that decide to mow during the beginning part of the show, the ones that are close by. But I don't like town, and now that my new neurologist is in downtown Pittsburgh, I used to drive in and out of Pittsburgh every day for my phone job, but I haven't done that in years. So I just don't get excited about driving into the city anymore. I hate sitting in traffic, especially now at almost 51 years old. I got to pee all the time, so I got to make sure I don't drink a lot of coffee and stuff before I go in, because you're sitting in Pittsburgh or anywhere in Pennsylvania, Western Pennsylvania, there's road construction constantly. I don't like it. I like being right here at home.
Yeah, and Mike, I get it with being more rural, albeit not in a tiny house. Tiny house living is not for everybody. Off-grid living is not for everybody. My brother and his wife, his wife actually offended my mom because my brother switched jobs, and his wife was nervous, and she said right in front of my mother, she's like, I'm worried he's going to lose his job, and I don't want to end up having to live like Bart lives. And it's like, we don't live rough. We just, Kelly's not high maintenance. She doesn't go get her hair done or nails done and all that stuff. And she doesn't need to have luxury items. And we're just content being out here living alone. And the hardest part about being out here, for me, the hardest part is, you can see I'm in a 6x12 trailer. That's my arcade. There's no insulation in here, so it's hot as fuck in here in the summertime. It gets cold in here in the wintertime. I have to switch everything around. I can game in the afternoon when the sun warms it up. And I'm very limited in space. Ideally for me would be if I could put a full-size basement underneath our tiny house, and that would be my arcade. So it's nice and cool, and it's underground, but I just didn't. Maybe someday I could dig me a hole and put me a frame and just have the house moved on top of it. But that would be ideal for me, is just to have a nice place that's temperature controlled a little easier to play arcade games. But the rest of our life, I mean, it doesn't. I mean, I look at the bright side. It's convenient for me. If I want to get something out of the fridge and I'm sitting on the couch, I can touch the refrigerator. The door opens the wrong way, so I can't quite, I do have to stand up. But if you go in to wash some dishes or something, the TV's still only 7 feet away from the kitchen sink. It's like everything's right there. You don't have to worry about it. It's for me, it's a perfect way of living. And we're not loaded by any stretch, but we can afford to work 2 days a week because we don't have any bills. And it's just a nice way I traded off the size of a house and all that stuff for having a lot of free time. You don't get that back. You only get one go round.
You're right. Exactly.
Yeah. And 55 years old now, so I think I'm on the downhill slope for sure at this point. So I didn't want to be. We saw so many stories of people that work their ass off till they're 70 years old. They retire and then they die at 71.
Oh, definitely. I watched that at the mill all the time. A lot when I was young and started in the mill, and there was stories all the time. We had a guy there that was with us. He worked all those years. He couldn't wait to retire and go to his camp all the time and be there. And he wasn't gone a couple months before he was diagnosed with emphysema, and within a year he was dead after retirement. And there's other stories like that from where I was working. It's just like, that sucks. You're working in a steel mill, hot, dirty, gross your whole life, and these guys are doing 30 to 40 years there, and then you walk out the door and you fall over dead. So
yeah, there were two things that got us into this whole lifestyle, if you want to say it that way. And the work camping led directly into this living off-grid tiny house stuff. But the two things were the stories like we just heard, that people working their ass off all their life and then they die right after they retire. And the other thing was we watched a documentary thing. It was only like a 20-minute YouTube video or whatever, but it was documentary. They went around and they interviewed a bunch of people in their 80s and 90s. And they said, what is your biggest regret in life? And I think every single one of them, what they said started off with that I didn't do, and then fill in the blank. None of them were like, yeah, I got this tattoo on my ass when I was 18 and I regret that, or I did something crazy and I regret doing that. It was all, man, I always wanted to do this and I never did. I wanted to do that and I never did. And Kelly and I got to talk about the work camping and all that stuff we were talking about. And then we saw that show, and literally like Shelby's our youngest, and she graduated high school. And then like 2 weeks later, we're like, oh, fuck it. Let's put our ads up on the workcamper.net and see, we'll put resumes. And we got hired in 4 days in Colorado. And we're like, let's do it. We don't want to be that old person that says, man, we always wanted to live in a motorhome and travel around and do all that. We never did it. So, and now we got to, now we've got to where we're living, just chilling. I say, tell people that we're coasting in retirement. And so, yeah, that's exactly right. My biggest regrets are the things you didn't do.
Right.
But, yeah, it's but it isn't for everybody. And I know, there are things that we do without by living out here. And but for us, it works,
Personally, I liked it better when you were off on the weekends and worked at the store, because then I could mini golf with you every Saturday. But I understand the decision.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we still work the weekend. We just worked that evening shift, so we were off during the day. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's how that worked. But yeah, it's interesting and it's fun. I like living out here, and it's quiet. Every once it's 2.5 miles from here to the train track, and it's quiet enough that you can hear you go outside. If you're in the house, you can't hear the train. But if you go outside, you can hear the rumble of the train from 2.5 miles away, because it's just dead quiet out here. There's nothing else happening. You can hear a car driving on the road from 3 miles away, because you're just like, who's out there? Well, I gotta wait 7 minutes till I see him drive by, but I can see the cloud of dust. It's pretty cool. But yeah, it is. Having regrets is a waste of time. You just move on, but you get to a point where the things you can't do anymore.
Yeah.
It's
just live each day for what it is. That's what I do. You never know what's going to happen, right? We both had health problems. You never know what's going to happen. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I walked head first into that. I tell people I went 51 years of my life. I'd never been to a hospital.
Yes, exactly.
The year I was 52, I had two major surgeries, and I was at the doctor's office every week, just probe, just cutting into me. I'm like, what the hell happened here at 52? And
yeah, I tell people that you're Superman until you're not. Everybody is Superman until you're not. And the same thing with me. Never had an ambulance ride, never had a broken bone, never had a surgery. Then all of a sudden the ambulance ride started when all this stuff started 4 years ago. And they still haven't found any answers, but it's like I've been in the ER so many times in the last 4 years. And before that, I never was, right? I cut my finger when I was a teenager and was at the ER for that. That was it.
Yeah,
and
that's it. I had stitches in my finger once. That was it. That was the extent. Well, actually, they put staples in, fucking doctor. The staples in my finger. And the poor nurse that took them out, because she knew how bad it was going to hurt. And she got the little staple puller, and she'd be like, sorry. Click.
Oh,
I was consoling her. She was almost in tears pulling these staples out. And I'm like, look, it's not your fault. Just do it. Just don't mess around. Just get them out. I put like 8 staples in my freaking pinky finger.
oh man.
But yeah, that was the worst I ever had my whole life.
Right.
It's, the only surgeries I ever had was tooth removal. It's like, but and then all of a sudden the year 52 was brutal for me, and I ended up getting that same, which I know Poe, but I got diagnosed in my colonoscopy. Go get your colonoscopy, people. But they found and it was almost identical to the one they had found in my dad, and he never made it out of the surgeries. He ended up dying, directly resulted from all this. It wasn't the cancer that killed him. It was the surgeries. And like 6 years later, I got diagnosed with almost identical thing. So it's like, suddenly you're like, I'm probably not going to die from this, but my dad did.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of, all of a sudden life hit you with, this could end at some point. Oh, look at your Game Freak.
Hey, Game Freak. Good dude, great channel. Great dude, great channel.
I got staples on me fingers. Close. Yeah. Mike's Gaming Gala had many broken bones and hospital visits.
I'm surprised I didn't, because my brothers beat the living tar out of me. I was the youngest of 4. And they really did. Knocked me out a couple times. Was actually knocked out, but never ended up with a broken bone. Knock on wood.
Oh, hey, looky here. Fat Boys Gaming and Nonsense. What's up, Salty?
So it's a salty.
Good to see ya. Yes, colonoscopies are so vital. Yeah.
My phone is about dead at this point, so just wanted to let you know that. You might be by yourself here in a few more minutes.
Yeah, it might be about that time. I think I said 20 minutes ago the 4 a.m. was catching up with me. So, yeah, so thanks for everyone stopping by. Sorry for the Game Freak and Fat Boys Gaming. Sorry you got here right when we're leaving.
Yeah, come on to Discord, play some Snoopy for the pinball tournament, and Gyrus for the arcade challenge this week. Check out the
Gyrus, the arcade version, Gyrus, play that. Check it out in the Discord. The link will be in the description for this video if you're watching on my channel or Greg's channel. Every video we do. Poe puts it on videos when they're relevant, especially to this. But check it out. Get in the contests, and I'm going to see if I can't find us a little outro. But thanks for being here, especially those of you that stuck around for the whole time. The official count is 2 hours and 37 minutes right now.
And so we talked about everything.
We talked about everything, even stuff we probably shouldn't. I don't even know. So, where's that big 12-second outro that I like playing? He probably got. Oh, there it is. All right. So I found it. So Stretch Armstrong is going to lead the way, and we'll catch you all next week. Same bat time.
On the next one. Good night, everybody.